Chapter 1392. The large living room was filled with 10 or so beauties. The women stared at each other in a daze. For many of them, it was their first time meeting each other. As the representative of Hero City, Su Ruoro introduced Shaoli, Chioya, and the Thousand Illusion Child, while Shui'er introduced Lin Bei and the other women as the representative of Hero City. After everyone got to know each other, a trace of shock appeared in their eyes. They already knew that Qin Feng had many women by his side, but now that they saw him, they truly understood the meaning of the word many. Now that the situation was urgent, the women were in no mood to complain about Qin Feng's fickleness. There was a trace of worry on their faces. Su Ruoro spoke. "Sisters, did something happen for you to suddenly come looking for me?" Shui'er said, "Ruoro, I know how to enter the despair gate." Su Ruoro and the other women froze, then looked at Shui'er excitedly. Just like the women in Hero City, they were worried about Qin Feng's safety every day. It was just that they didn't know how to enter the despair gate. Otherwise, they would have gone looking for him already. "Shui'er, you said you know where the entrance to the despair gate is?" The Thousand Illusion Child asked anxiously. "My big brother said that the entrance is near Ice Lake Mountain. Can you take everyone there?" Lin Bei. The Thousand Illusion Child stared blankly. She thought that Shui'er and the others really knew where the entrance was, but after hearing Lin Bei's words, she lost interest. She was the great elder of Ice Lake Mountain. Moreover, when Zhao Ling Xian had disappeared, she had taken Qin Feng to look around Ice Lake Mountain, but they hadn't found the entrance. We already knew this information, but Ice Lake Mountain has 4 peaks, and each peak is incredibly big. Moreover, the formation to enter the despair gate changes randomly, so we can't find it. The Thousand Illusion Child knew that these words were very hurtful, but she had to say it. Lin Bei and the other women's expressions greatly changed. Their hopes were about to be dashed? "Everyone, don't worry about not being able to find the entrance. I have a way." Just as the women were feeling disappointed, they saw Shui'er's confident expression. Qinhuan Child looked at her suspiciously and asked, "What do you have in mind?" She was the owner of the ultimate superstar system. In order to enter the death door, she had been desperately completing quests. Not long ago, she had exchanged for a formation finder from the system. However, she had promised Qin Feng that she wouldn't tell anyone about the system's secret, so she couldn't explain it to her sisters. "In any case, I have a way. Do you guys trust me?" Shui'er looked at the girls sternly. Lin Bei thought about Qin Feng so much that she lost her mind. She didn't care whether Shui'er was telling the truth or not. She had to try. "Shui'er, hurry up and bring me to find the array to enter the extinction gate. I want to see Qin Feng now." As Lin Bei spoke, her eyes became moist again. Snow patted Su Ruoro's head, and Su Ruoro said, "All right. Since we're all Qin Feng's women, we're family. If Shui'er says she has a way, then we have to believe her." "That's right, I also believe in Shui'er." "Then let's not talk anymore. Let's go to Ice Lake Mountain now." The girls all stood up and expressed their opinions. In the end, they unanimously decided to go to Ice Lake Mountain. The Thousand Illusion Child was in charge of leading the team. This group of beauties caused a huge commotion in the martial arts world. Many martial arts disciples were captivated by their beauty. However, when they heard that these beauties were Qin Feng's women, they were so scared that they immediately ran away. The pine trees on Ice Lake Mountain were lush. They walked around the entire mountain, but they didn't find any array. "Shui'er, did you find the entrance?" The girls all looked at Shui'er. Shui'er took out a formation finder from the system. It was something that looked like a compass. "Big sister Shui'er, what is this?" Lin Bei looked puzzled. The girls all gathered around her. None of them recognized the ancient compass in Shui'er's hand. They didn't know what it was made of, but there were some ancient runes and pictures carved on it. It looked like it had been around for a long time. "This looks like a compass for feng shui. Can it be used to detect arrays?" Even the Thousand Illusion Child, a member of the inner hidden sect, couldn't understand the ancient compass. Shui'er didn't understand it either. She had used her star points to buy this thing from the system. It had cost her 50,000 star points, and she had saved them for more than a year. However, Shui didn't feel the pinch. If this ancient compass could really find the entrance, then it would be worth it. It's over there. Let's go to the opposite mountain. The needle on the ancient compass in Shui's hand suddenly moved. She quickly led the girls down the mountain. When they arrived at the opposite mountain, the ancient compass's reaction became more intense. If the disciples of the Holy Gate in China saw the ancient compass in Shui's hand, they would be shocked. Isn't this a location-finding artifact used by the Holy Gate to find hidden arrays? Why does it exist in China's secular world? Although the girls said they believed in Shui, they were still worried. Now that they saw the ancient compass's reaction, they were so excited that their hearts almost jumped out of their throats. Under the ancient compass's guidance, the girls finally stood at the top of the western mountain. In front of them was a precipitous cliff, but the ancient compass's needle didn't move. It was pointing at the bottom of the cliff. Shui, why isn't the ancient compass reacting? Lin Bei asked anxiously. Su Ruo's expression became serious. I think it's not that the compass isn't reacting, but that it has clearly pointed out the location of the entrance. It's in the space in front of us. The girls cried out in shock. They were frightened by Su Ruo's words. In front of them was a cliff. How could there be an entrance? If they jumped down, they would definitely be smashed to pieces. Ruo is right. The spiritual energy fluctuations in front of everyone are a bit strange. I also suspect that the array is in midair. The Thousand Illusion Child was the strongest among the girls. Now that she had stabilized at the first stage of true Qi, she was more sensitive to spiritual energy than anyone else. The top of the mountain suddenly quieted down. Only the whistling of the wind could be heard. The girls looked at each other and didn't know what to do for a moment. Since there really is an entrance in front of us, then I'll be the first to enter. After a moment of silence, Lin Bei suddenly jumped. Her upper body was hanging off the cliff, but she was pulled back by Su Ruo. Bei, don't be anxious. We don't know what's going on in this array. Let's scout it out first. Su Ruo's heart was filled with lingering fear. If she was a second late, Lin Bei would have died. If Qin Feng came back and found out about this, who knew how angry he would be? Lin Bei was so anxious that she started to cry. The girls all revealed a gloomy expression. They finally found the entrance with great difficulty, but they discovered that it was still very difficult to enter it. Sisters, look, the compass is spinning again, Shui suddenly cried out. This time, the girls were all confused. The ancient compass's pointer suddenly pointed to a cliff at the side. The Thousand Illusion Child was the first to regain her senses. She had been in the inner hidden sect for dozens of years, so she knew more about arrays than the other girls. Not good, this entrance really is a moving array. This kind of array will move after a certain period of time. Everyone, once you find the entrance, you must enter decisively. The already gloomy beauties felt even more helpless. This array could move? How were they going to enter now? Everyone sat on the top of the mountain and didn't know what to do. Snow held the geomantic compass in her hand and observed it closely. 2 hours later, she had figured out the pattern. The formation at the entrance would change its position every 3 minutes, and there was no pattern to it. It could be close to its previous position, or it could be hundreds or even thousands of meters away from its previous position. Since the entrance's array can be determined, there's still a chance to enter. All of you go back. I'll go take a look at the entrance alone. After a long time, the Thousand Illusion Child suddenly stood up. All the girls looked at her. Su Ruo raised her eyebrows and said, "If you want to go, then let's go together. How can we let you take the risk alone?" The Thousand Illusion Child's expression was incomparably solemn. This isn't the time to be a hero. Since it's the entrance's array, it must be very powerful. How can anyone enter just because they want to? This kind of teleportation array has violent air currents. You guys haven't even stepped into the true Qi realm. I'm afraid you'll die before you even reach the entrance. I don't want Qin Feng to blame me when he comes back. The Thousand Illusion Child understood the path of martial arts better than anyone else. Her words suddenly woke the girls up. After working for so long, it turned out that entering the array required great strength. However, Most of the girls like Lin Bei had just started cultivating. Their strength was around the 4th stage of inner chi. How could they withstand the impact of the air currents in the array? Thousand Illusion is right. Everyone go back. I'll accompany Thousand Illusion to take a look. Su Ruoro made her decision. Chiyoya immediately stood up and said, I've stepped into the 1st stage of true chi not long ago. I want to go as well. Shaoli stood up and said, I'm a ghost cultivator. My body is very special. The impact of the air currents won't hurt me much. I can go as well. Lin Bei and the others were anxious when they saw the 4 girls from Hero City were going to enter the entrance. They began to blame themselves for being weak. If they knew this would happen, they would have trained hard day and night. However, Zhang Kuku suddenly jumped out and said, Then I'll go with you as the beauty representative of Hero City. Su Ruoro immediately rejected, No way. You guys are too weak. You'll die for nothing if you go. I don't want Qin Feng to come back sad. Zhang Kuku was immediately displeased. She raised her small pink fist and said, You said I'm too weak? I'm not bragging, but the 4 of you combined can't withstand a single punch from me. Su Ruoro and the others rolled their eyes. They had already investigated the women from Hero City. Su Qiuyu was the strongest among them. However, she was only at the 7th stage of inner chi. As for Zhang Kuku, her inner chi was very weak. It seemed like she was only at the 2nd stage of inner chi. Chapter 1393. Su Ruoro had already taken away Shui Er's ancient compass and was discussing with the Thousand Illusion Child and the others when to enter the Forbidden Gate. Although Lin Bei and the other girls were unwilling, after knowing the seriousness of the matter, they didn't dare to rashly enter the Death Gate formation. At that time, they would die in the formation before even seeing Qin Feng. Zhang Kuku stomped her feet angrily when she realized she was being ignored. Hey, did you hear what I said? I'm the strongest among the sisters. It's more appropriate for you to follow behind me. Zhang Kuku was usually careless. The beauties in Hero City of Acropolis City were used to it. Rao Sherman quickly pulled her back, but the 4 women ignored her. Sherman, let go of me. Let me teach those 4 women a lesson. Zhang Kuku was anxious. She wanted to enter the Forbidden Gate to find Big Brother Qin Feng no matter what. In the end, Rao Sherman couldn't hold her back. Zhang Kuku leaped over 10 meters and stood in front of the Thousand Illusion Child. Kuku, what's the situation now? Stop fooling around, Rao Sherman yelled at her angrily. Lin Bei and the others were startled. They quickly surrounded Zhang Kuku. None of them knew about Zhang Kuku's strength, let alone the fact that she had drunk the ancient beast gene fluid. In their opinion, Su Ruoro and the other 3 women were very powerful. Zhang Kuku was no match for them. Kuku, I understand how you feel right now. You're not the only one who's worried about Qin Feng. All of us are worried about him. With your current strength, you'll be blasted into pieces by the airflow the moment you step into the teleportation portal. Qin Feng will be in a lot of trouble. Su Ruoro began to lecture Zhang Kuku. Zhang Kuku's face darkened. Of course, she knew what Su Ruoro was talking about, but she was obviously very powerful. Even Big Brother Qin Feng was afraid of her. I've told you 100 times that I'm the strongest among the sisters. Why don't you believe me? Zhang Kuku had always been an impatient person. Now, she was jumping up and down like a monkey. Come on. The 4 of you come at me together. Let's see if you can block my punch. Seeing that Zhang Kuku was disobedient, the beauties of Acropolis City felt helpless. The Thousand Illusion Child was getting impatient. If Zhang Kuku wasn't Qin Feng's woman, she would have knocked her out a long time ago. You're the one who proposed to fight, so don't blame me. The Thousand Illusion Child snorted coldly and suddenly sent a palm strike over. The expressions of the women in Acropolis City and Hero City changed drastically. Su Ruoro was so scared that she wanted to stop her, but the Thousand Illusion Child was too fast, and no one could stop her. Humph! How dare you say you're very powerful with just this bit of strength? Too weak. Just when everyone was worried for Zhang Kuku, they saw her standing still with a disgusted expression on her face. Just as the palm was about to hit her little face, Zhang Kuku's aura suddenly changed. She threw a punch at a speed so fast that it was dazzling to the eyes. A loud explosion followed. No one knew when the illusionary child had disappeared, but 100-meter-long ravine was left on the ground where she was standing just a moment ago. All of a sudden, the women fell silent, and the atmosphere became strange. Zhang Kuku's punch might seem simple, but the sound of wind breaking could still be heard. A white figure landed on the ground. It was the Thousand Illusion Child. The Thousand Illusion Child sensed danger the moment Zhang Kuku threw a punch at her. She retreated without a second thought, and she was almost severely injured by Zhang Kuku's punch. Thousand Illusion, why? Su Ruo's mouth was agape, and she could not utter a complete sentence. Qiuya and Shaoli were also stunned. They stared at Zhang Kuku as if she was a monster. What do you think? I've told you that I'm the most powerful among the sisters. Do you believe me now? Zhang Kuku had forced the Thousand Illusion Child to retreat, but she did not seem to be affected at all. She really did not take the Thousand Illusion Child seriously. When Qin Feng returned to Hero City after breaking through to Stage 5 from Devil Beast Mountain, he was shocked by Zhang Kuku's strength. In other words, when Zhang Kuku activated the genetic fluid in her body, her battle prowess was on par with a Stage 5 True Qi cultivator. On the other hand, the Thousand Illusion Child was merely at Stage 1 True Qi. If Zhang Kuku didn't show mercy, she would have become a corpse by now. What's your cultivation level? I didn't know there's an expert like you hiding in the secular world of China. The Thousand Illusion Child finally regained her senses. However, the astonishment in her eyes did not subside even after a long time. Even Lin Bei and the others were stunned, let alone the 4 girls from the hero city of the outer martial world. They had been hanging out with Zhang Kuku every day, but they did not realize that this girl had become so powerful. No wonder Zhang Kuku always wanted to hunt sharks in the sea or wild beasts in Devil Beast Mountain. In the past, the girls thought that this girl was insensitive, but now, they realized that she was really powerful. I don't want to talk about my cultivation level. Just remember, as long as I'm the one who will bring you to the gate of despair, no one will be able to bully us. Zhang Kuku patted her proud chest and said coolly. After witnessing the power of her punch, no one dared to dissuade Zhang Kuku anymore. This girl was truly the most powerful among all of them. Su Ruo's group of 4 had now become 5. After some discussion, they decided to enter the formation at midnight because that would be the time when the formation would be at its weakest. However, Lin Bei and the others did not leave. They stayed with Su Ruo and the others until nightfall. At around 11 o'clock, a few beautiful figures rushed up from the foot of the mountain. It turned out that it was Han Ying and the others. Bei, Qing, Wenjing. Did everyone really find the entrance to the gate of despair? Han Ying was still wearing the black silk uniform she wore during the day. Liu Chen was by her side. Hua Yan and Ren Xiaoyao were also here. Yun Xiao was also in the group. Everyone came after receiving Shue's message. After a discussion between Su Ruo and the Thousand Illusion Child, they decided that it would be best to bring a few more powerful women with them. The more people there were, the more power there was. When the time came, they would have a higher chance of winning. Shui had already explained the situation to Han Ying and the others in detail. When Han Ying found out that only Stage 9 Inner Qi could join Su Ruo's group, she became anxious. After all, she had just entered Stage 5 Inner Qi. Among the group of beauties, only Ren Xiaoyao and Hua Yan had entered Stage 9 Inner Qi. Moreover, their strength had stabilized at the pinnacle of Stage 9 Inner Qi. Now, Su Ruo's group of 5 had become 7. Seeing that the 7 of them were about to barge into the gate of despair, the other women's faces were filled with worry. Sisters, why don't I call my brother over? With him around, I'll feel more at ease. Shui suddenly said. The women's expressions changed drastically. Han Ying hurriedly rejected. No, Shui. If the dragon god finds out about this, he'll definitely stop us. Only the sisters can know about this. Don't tell anyone else. The women's thoughts were the same as Han Ying's. They had secretly come to Ice Lake Mountain without telling the dragon god, Qin Shao, Lu Jie, and the others. They knew that once the news of their arrival was leaked, those people would definitely stop them. Shui sighed and said no more. Han Ying and the other women looked at Su Ruoro and the others as if they were going to be parted forever. The ancient compass has located the entrance. This time, the entrance is right in front of us. Sisters, are you ready? Su Ruoro shouted excitedly as she held the compass in her hand. Qiu Ya, Thousand Illusion Child, Xiao Li, Zhang Ke, Hua Yan, Ren Xiao Yao, including Su Ruoro, the 7 women stood in a row at the edge of the cliff. They looked like brave warriors who were not afraid of death. We're ready, Hua Yan and the others said in unison. Su Ruoro was about to take the lead when Qiao Shishir suddenly ran up to her and said, "Take me with you. Although my cultivation base isn't high, I'm a spirit beast master. I can control the minds of beasts, so I might be able to help." Su Ruoro raised an eyebrow. The formation would only stay for 3 minutes at a time. After that, it would move to another place. Although she was worried about Qiao Shishir, she did not have the time to persuade her. "All right, there are 8 of us going to the extinction gate. We don't want to live together, but we want to die together." Su Ruoro shouted and took the lead. Under the night sky, her white dress fluttered in the wind. Her slender figure floated in the air and suddenly disappeared. Where did Ruoro go? It's the extinction gate's entrance. Sisters, let's jump together. Lin Bei Bei and the other women screamed in fear. However, they heard the Thousand Illusion Child's shout and she too disappeared. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The wind whistled on the mountain peak. Zhang Kuku and the other women leaped into the air one after another. There was a cliff in front of them, but none of them were afraid. When Qiao Shishir was the last one to jump into the air and disappeared, the air trembled. The entrance had changed its position. If they're all gone? Lin Bei Bei looked as if she had seen a ghost. Han Ying was the most composed among the women. She said solemnly, "The 8 sisters have gone to the extinction gate. I wonder if they'll be able to pass through the formation. Would he encounter any danger there? Let's pray for them." The women stood at the top of the mountain for a long time, unwilling to leave. They prayed for Su Ruoro and the others again and again in their hearts. At the same time, Su Ruoro and the others entered the formation. As soon as they entered, they could feel the strong wind and waves inside the formation. The wind was so strong that tears flowed from their eyes. Is everyone here? Hurry up and hug each other. Let's circulate our auras to resist the wind. The Thousand Illusion Child shouted. The 8 of them gathered together with great difficulty. 8 different auras flowed out and formed a transparent air barrier. However, their cultivation bases were too low. As soon as the barrier was formed, it was broken by the violent wind inside the formation. Qiao Shishir, who was the weakest among them, had difficulty breathing. She felt as if her body was going to be crushed at any moment. "This is bad, Shishir can't hold on much longer." Su Ruoro shouted anxiously. She already regretted taking the risk. Even she herself couldn't hold on much longer, let alone Qiao Shishir. The other women were in the same situation. The strength of the formation was far beyond their expectations. A wave of despair rose in their hearts. They felt that death was not far away. Rumble. Suddenly, a loud explosion rang in their ears. Zhang Kuku seemed to have transformed into another person. Her aura was incomparably violent, and her eyes were blood red. She was like an ancient beast that had suddenly awakened. She resisted the violent wind and waves and threw a punch. Rumble. Chapter 1394. Congratulations host Qin Feng for completing the City War main mission. Take down Meteor City and Distant Ice City. The system rewards host Qin Feng 100,000 hedonist points and 1 Black Dragon mech host Qin Feng's total hedonist points. 969 million. When Immortal Spirit City was completely stabilized, the City War mission was also considered completed. Qin Feng didn't dare to test the power of the Black Dragon mech. This was the Divine Great Land. If a mech suddenly appeared out of nowhere and was discovered, he wouldn't even know how he died. Defensive battle armor made from premium cold steel, only 998 silver coins. You won't suffer a loss if you buy it, and won't be fooled if you buy it. We're doing a clearance sale, and only 10 pieces are left. If you miss this opportunity, you'll have to wait another 10 years. Orange quality spiritual sword. Everyone, come and take a look. Sir, are you looking for a place to stay? Our Myriad Flower Tower is a chain restaurant in the divine Great Land, and we have branches in the main towns of the 9 cities. This Fire Beacon Tower's main store is even more exquisite, and the service is on point. I guarantee that you'll be able to stay and eat in peace. The moment they entered Fire Beacon City's gate, they saw a bustling scene. This was the only public city in the divine Great Land. People from the other 8 cities gathered here, and it could be considered as a Silk Road. There were many peddlers on both sides of the street, and the road was crowded with people. In the crowd, there was a man and a woman wearing silk clothes and straw hats. They were even riding Fergana horses, and it was obvious that they came from a rich family. They attracted many people's attention as they walked on the street. Young Master Qiao, Fire Beacon City is so lively. It's several times more prosperous than West Town. The man and woman on the horse were naturally Qin Feng and Hua Xiaozhen. After stabilizing Immortal Spirit City, Qin Feng brought Hua Xiaozhen to Fire Beacon City. It was Hua Xiaozhen's first time coming to Fire Beacon City, and she was already mesmerized by the bustling scene. She chattered like a cheerful bird along the way. Qin Feng's eyes under the straw hat were constantly vigilant of the surroundings. Before he came, Teacher Qiao had warned him many times that Fire Beacon City was a dangerous place with many eyes. As expected, Qin Feng had only brought Hua Xiaozhen into the city for less than 10 minutes, and he already noticed a dozen or so gazes staring at him. Eldest miss, the jade hairpins here are of the new style. Do you want to take 2 back? Flaming Dragon Horse passed by a stall selling hairpins. The stall was filled with colorful hairpins of various styles. Hua Xiaozhen's eyes lit up as she looked at them. Girls of her age had no resistance to accessories and other small things. However, Hua Xiaozhen quickly retracted her gaze. She politely smiled at the old granny and shook her head. She had come with young Master Qiao to handle official business, so she could not delay young Master Qiao's time. How much is 1 hairpin? Qin Feng had already seen the flash of light in Hua Xiaozhen's eyes. He stopped his horse and asked the stall owner. Seeing that there was business, the old lady immediately smiled and said, "Young master, the hairpins are very cheap, 1 copper coin each. Young master, do you want to buy a few for your sweetheart?" Hua Xiaozhen blushed. How could she be worthy of being young Master Qiao's sweetheart? Just as she was about to explain to the stall owner, she felt Qin Feng hug her even tighter. He said, "Give me 10. Hua Xiaozhen and the old lady stared blankly. This Qin Feng was too generous. After the old lady came back to her senses, she smiled from ear to ear. She hurriedly packed 10 of the prettiest hairpins and handed them to Qin Feng. Young master is truly generous. Miss, you have good fortune. You will definitely be happy with this young master. Dear Granny, I don't need so many. Just give me 1, I'll pay for it myself." How could Hua Xiaozhen have the nerve to ask Qin Feng to buy hairpins for her? She blamed herself in her heart. Why did she look around? Wasn't this causing trouble for young Master Qiao? The price of the jade hairpins made Hua Xiaozhen's heart ache. However, she quickly fished out a handful of broken coins and gathered them together. With great difficulty, she managed to buy 1 copper coin. She had saved up this money when she was a servant girl. She usually kept it on her and didn't dare to spend it carelessly. Qin Feng pressed down on Hua Xiaozhen's lily-white hand and stuffed her money back. He used a commanding tone and said, "Don't argue with me. Buy the jade hairpins and we'll continue on our way." Hua Xiaozhen was so nervous that she trembled. She could only accept the 10 jade hairpins. Qin Feng casually gave the stall owner a gold coin and left, leaving the old lady standing there in a daze with a shocked expression. "Master, why you just gave me a gold coin? Tea that can be exchanged for 1 million copper coins." Hua Xiaozhen was also frightened by Qin Feng's extravagance. After leaving the stall for a while, she finally came back to her senses. Qin Feng didn't care. He still had over 100 gold bars on him. 1 gold coin was nothing. That stall owner has it hard. She is about the same age as your granny, but she still has to do business outside. Count it as me helping her. Qin Feng casually said. Hua Xiaojun was stunned. Her heart was filled with warmth. She subconsciously tightened her grip on Qin Feng's arm. This was the first time she had met such a kind young master like Qin Feng. Fire Beacon City was vast, and Qin Feng was not familiar with this place. He had just arrived at this place, so he didn't know what to do next. However, at this time, 4 figures jumped behind the flaming dragon horse and followed Qin Feng and Hua Xiaojun. Young Master Qiao, which hairpin do you think is the prettiest? Hua Xiaojun was completely unaware of the danger behind her. She was already dazzled by the bag of jade hairpins. Qin Feng was already aware that they were being followed, but he pretended as if nothing had happened. He even rubbed Hua Xiaojun's head and softly said, "Little Zhen is very beautiful. Whichever hairpin you wear will look good on you." Hua Xiaojun's little face blushed. Her heart was as sweet as honey. She shyly asked, "Young Master Qiao, why you really think that little Zhen is beautiful?" "Of course. Then between me and that woman Ling Yuna, who is prettier?" Hua Xiaojun suddenly asked. Qin Feng was startled. He didn't think that Hua Xiaojun would suddenly bring up that cunning and sinister woman. She was already killed in the city war. "Little Zhen, you and that woman are on 2 completely different levels. You are in heaven and she is in hell," Qin Feng said. Hua Xiaojun was so happy that she almost floated in the air. However, she was still a bit confused. If young Master Qiao didn't like that woman, why did he do that with her? However, Hua Xiaojun quickly stopped thinking about it. She didn't care if Qin Feng did that with other women. As long as Qin Feng didn't leave her behind, it was fine. "Young Master Qiao, can you help me put it on?" Hua Xiaojun finally picked a purple hairpin. Qin Feng noticed that the hairpin on her head was made of tree branches. She had scraped the bark clean and inserted it into her hair. Qin Feng's heart ached when he saw this obedient, weak and poor woman in his embrace. He couldn't help but think about Lin Bei. When he first met Lin Bei, her situation was very similar to Hua Xiaojun's. Qin Feng coiled Hua Xiaojun's hair as he rode. After putting on the jade hairpin, he said, "Little Zhen, in the future, you can buy whatever you like. Take these gold coins, don't be reluctant to spend them. Otherwise, I'll be unhappy." Hua Xiaojun immediately reached into her pocket and took out a large handful of gold coins. She was so scared that she almost fell off the horse. She was about to speak when she heard Qin Feng continue, "Don't refuse me. You're a servant, you have no right to refuse your master's arrangements." Hua Xiaojun was so anxious that tears were about to fall. In the end, she could only carefully put the gold coins in the most hidden place in her clothes, as if she was deeply afraid of losing them. Qin Feng was amused by this girl's appearance. Halfway through his laughter, his expression became serious. The 4 people following behind him suddenly rushed over and surrounded Flaming Dragon Horse. What are you doing?" Hua Xiaojun screamed in fear. The 4 people were all tall and strong. They wore black clothes in broad daylight, and their faces were covered by black masks. Clearly, they were professional robbers. At this time, Flaming Dragon Horse walked to an alley far away from the market. There were a lot less people around. One of the men pulled Flaming Dragon Horse into an empty alley. Hua Xiaojun screamed and wanted to call for help, but she heard Qin Feng whisper into her ear, telling her not to make a sound. Hua Xiaojun had a confused expression, but she still chose to listen to Qin Feng's orders. Her soft body trembled in Qin Feng's arms. She wasn't worried about her own safety, but she was afraid that these people would harm Qin Feng. "Senior He Chao, we've caught a big fat sheep this time. Look at this tall Fergana horse, it's worth over a dozen gold bars." One of the men couldn't help but laugh loudly. The strong man who pulled Flaming Dragon Horse in angrily scolded, "You idiot, how many times have I told you not to shout my name when you're robbing? Are you fucking brainless?" The laughing man suddenly shut his mouth and vented his anger on Qin Feng. "Stinking brat, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and get off the horse. We're disciples of Skycloud Sword. If you don't listen to us, we'll kill you." After Hua Xiaojun understood their intention to rob them, she was so scared that her face turned pale. The man called He Chao kicked the man who shouted. He was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. "Fuck you, I told you not to reveal your identity. Are you fucking retarded? Why the fuck are we wearing masks now? They already know we're disciples of Skycloud Sword. He Chao couldn't care less about Qin Feng and Hua Xiaojun at this moment. He angrily scolded the junior brother. The other two were stunned and didn't know what to do. However, they kept an eye on Qin Feng and Hua Xiaojun to prevent them from escaping. Hua Xiaojun glanced at the entrance of the alleyway. Just as she was about to pull Qin Feng and escape, she felt Qin Feng hugging her tightly. He had no intention of leaving. He Chao had already finished scolding them and walked back. He was in a bad mood and didn't want to waste words with Qin Feng. He immediately yelled, "Stinking brat, I only want your money, not your lives. Seeing that you're a disciple of a rich family, as long as you obediently hand over all your money, I can spare your lives." Qin Feng laughed coldly in his heart. He didn't believe this person's bullshit. Their identities had already been exposed, so why would they leave him alive? Chapter 1395. Hua Xiaojun cautiously suggested. She kept her head down, and the straw hat covered her delicate features. However, when she spoke, her clear and melodious voice attracted the attention of the four people. He Chao suddenly said, "Raise your head and let me see." Hua Xiaojun trembled in fear. She knew she was pretty, so she suggested Qin Feng buy a straw hat to cover her face. She didn't expect to attract the other party's attention. Although she was unwilling, Hua Xiaojun was very afraid of He Chao and the others. She could only slowly raise her head. When her delicate features were revealed, He Chao and the others stared straight at her. The junior brother who revealed their identities couldn't remain calm and cried out, "Senior brother He Chao, this girl is so pretty. Let's keep her." He Chao glared at him, but didn't say anything. He looked back at Hua Xiaojun and was very fond of her. "Stinking brat, leave behind this fine horse and your belongings, then scram." He Chao had already given the order, and the three juniors immediately surrounded Qin Feng, glaring at him fiercely. Hua Xiaojun grabbed onto the corner of Qin Feng's clothes and looked at him pitifully. Qin Feng secretly patted Hua Xiaojun's waist to comfort her. He looked at He Chao and said, "Then what about my servant girl?" The four people were stunned. They didn't think that Qin Feng would care about Hua Xiaojun's safety at a time like this. He Chao smiled coldly and said, "If I like that girl, I'll rip off her clothes and satisfy her. Do you have any more questions?" His words were so arrogant that he didn't put Qin Feng in his eyes at all. Hua Xiaojun was so angry that her face turned white. She wanted to rush up and kick him. Qin Feng's heart was already burning with anger. He sneered, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Without waiting for He Chao to speak, the foolish disciple jumped out and roared, "Stinking brat, this is Skycloud Sword's eldest senior brother He Chao. He's at the 5th layer of true Qi. If you don't want to die, leave the money and scram. Otherwise, if eldest senior brother goes back on his word, you..." The disciple was called He Ao, and he was usually slow. These words clearly revealed He Chao's background. He Chao was so angry that he slapped him. "You idiot, no one will think you're mute if you don't speak. We're here to rob. Do you think we're here to receive rewards?" He Ao covered his red and swollen face and looked at He Chao with a bit of grievance. Qin Feng had already lost his patience. He had already investigated the strength of the four people. Only He Chao had stepped into the 5th stage of true Qi. The other three were all at the 4th stage of true Qi. In Qin Feng's eyes, these realms were like ants. "Since you've finished speaking, it's my turn to say a few words. Immediately take out all the money you have on you, kneel down and kowtow 10 times, and apologize to my maid. If you do that, I can spare your lives." As soon as Qin Feng finished speaking, the entire alley fell into a dead silence. He Chao and the others stared at him in disbelief. They thought there was something wrong with their ears. Even Hua Xiaojun was dumbfounded. She knew that Qin Feng was also a martial warrior, but how could he defeat 4 Holy Gate disciples? "You brat who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Let Grandpa teach you a lesson." He Ao, who had just been slapped by He Chao, had a belly full of anger. He roared angrily and swung his fist at Qin Feng. Before the fist arrived, a gust of wind blew through the alley. That violent aura made it hard for Hua Xiaojun to breathe. She was so anxious that she started crying. "Young Master Qiao, be careful." As Hua Xiaojun cried out in fear, a loud explosion rang out. It was so loud that her ears went deaf. When she opened her eyes, she was immediately dumbstruck. Unexpectedly, the tall and burly Holy Gate disciple was sent flying. He fell on the wall dozens of meters away, causing the brick wall to collapse. The atmosphere became quiet again. A strange aura floated in the air. He Chao and the remaining two junior brothers were dumbfounded. They didn't even see how Qin Feng made his move, and He Ao was already unconscious. "Stinking brat, you dare to make a move?" Everyone attacked together. He Chao quickly regained his senses. With a roar, he took the lead and rushed over. Qin Feng unhurriedly shielded Hua Xiaojun behind him. When he saw the three people's attacks coming at him at the same time, he casually waved his hand. 3 flames shot out in the air, mixed with the faint sound of the wind. When the 3 people reached him, they suddenly knelt down. There were long cuts on their knees. The destructive fire immediately charred the wounds, and a foul stench floated in the air. "But, young Master Qiao, let's run." Hua Xiaojun was confused by the scene in front of her. She didn't have time to think. She was about to pull Qin Feng and run for their lives. Qin Feng found it funny. He hugged Hua Xiaojun and comforted her by touching her back. "Xiaojun, don't be afraid. These people are not my match." Hua Xiaojun finally calmed down. She looked at He Chao and the other 2 who were kneeling on the ground, wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. They seemed to have been defeated by young Master Qiao. The fire blade martial technique was so powerful that even a true Qi Stage 7 expert would be caught off guard. Not to mention He Chao and the other 2 with their meager strength. At this moment, they didn't even have the strength to stand up. Qin Feng hugged Hua Xiaojun and approached. The 3 of them were trembling in fear. The ruthlessness on their faces disappeared. There was no trace of arrogance. The 3 of them wanted to run for their lives, but they discovered that under Qin Feng's powerful might, they didn't even have the courage to run. Young hero, please spare us. It was our fault. We were blind and offended, young hero. We hope that young hero will spare our lives." He Chao had already begun to beg for mercy. His appearance of losing his dignity in order to live made Hua Xiaojun feel disgusted. The other 2 disciples were also begging for mercy. The 3 of them were about to die from depression. They were the dignified disciples of the Skycloud Sword sect. Their status was very high. Relying on their superior strength, they had been robbing people at the entrance of Fire Beacon City for the past few days. Their previous crimes were very successful, but they didn't expect to kick a nail board today. Facing the 3's begging, Qin Feng acted as if he didn't hear them. He suddenly raised his hand, and an ear-piercing sound of wind breaking echoed in their ears. They were so scared that their bodies trembled. However, after waiting for a moment, the 3 of them didn't feel anything strange on their bodies. Instead, Hua Xiaojun suddenly cried out. "But, young Master Qiao, that person's head fell off." Hua Xiaojun covered her small mouth with a cute expression while pointing at He Ao, who was lying in the far corner. He Chao and the other 2 quickly turned around to look, and their eyes suddenly fell to the ground. He Ao's head was cut off by Qin Feng's flame blade, and his body was burnt black. This move was extremely cruel, and it made He Chao and the other Sacred Gate disciples, who were numb to killing, feel fear. "Oh, that person's head really fell off. Who did it?" Qin Feng hugged Hua Xiaojun tightly and patted her head to comfort her. Hua Xiaojun still hadn't regained her senses, and she stupidly said, "I don't know who did it. Young Master Qiao, we should leave quickly. There seems to be a very powerful expert hiding nearby." Qin Feng was amused by Hua Xiaojun's silly expression. He Chao and the other 2 were speechless. They clearly knew how He Ao died, but no one dared to say it. Young hero, what will make you spare this little brother? This little brother will do everything." After He Ao died, He Chao and the other 2 became even more nervous. At the same time, they were shocked. He Ao was a true Qi Stage 4 expert, and he died just like that? What was the realm of this young man in front of them? I said it very clearly before. Kneel down, kowtow, apologize, and hand over all your belongings. If I'm in a good mood, I can spare your dog lives. Qin Feng spoke as if he was talking about a trivial matter. When he first said this, He Chao and the other 3 people laughed at him. Now that he said it again, the expressions of the 3 people who were still alive became incomparably solemn. Brat, we all live in the divine great land. I advise you to leave a way out for yourself. In any case, we are Skycloud Sword's disciples. If the Skycloud Sword's sect master and great elder find out about this, they will definitely not forgive you. He Chao's expression suddenly became cold, and he began to threaten Qin Feng. Hua Xiaojun was filled with anxiety, but Qin Feng sneered. Not long ago, when the city war ended, all the sacred sects in the divine great land were spying on distant Ice City and Meteor City, including Skycloud Sword's sacred sect. That night, Skycloud Sword's elder He joined forces with Life and Death sect's elder Yen Sheng to attack distant Ice City, but was killed by Qin Feng alone. If he knew the location of Skycloud Sword and Life and Death sect, he would definitely kill his way there and exterminate them. Would he be afraid of He Chao's threat now? A faint sound of wind suddenly sounded. Because the alley had fallen into silence, this sound attracted He Chao and the other 2 people's attention. Hua Xiaojun also heard it. She pouted and looked around strangely. Suddenly she screamed, dead, another one died. He Chao, who had been speaking ruthlessly just a moment ago, was now beheaded and rolled a few meters away. The ground was covered with blood, and the air was filled with the smell of blood. The remaining 2 disciples were long dumbfounded, and one of them even wet his pants. What are you 2 still standing there for? Do you want to end up like him? After killing He Chao with a fire blade, Qin Feng acted as if nothing had happened. The 2 disciples of Skycloud Sword could no longer withstand the pressure brought by Qin Feng. They kowtowed to Qin Feng and Hua Xiaojun with all their might. They did not dare to stop even when their heads were bleeding. Great hero, please spare us. We deserve to die, we deserve to die. I'm willing to hand over all my belongings. Please don't kill us, great hero. The 2 of them kowtowed while begging for mercy. Hua Xiaojun was already dumbstruck. This was the first time in her life that someone kowtowed to her. This made her nervous. The other party was a sacred gate disciple with a high status. How could they kowtow to him? Young Master Qiao Ai. Hua Xiaojun grabbed the corner of Qin Feng's shirt and looked at him with pleading eyes. She looked like she wanted to leave. Qin Feng hugged Hua Xiaojun tightly. He still had a mission to change this girl's sealed mindset. Don't be afraid. These people wanted to rob us and even covet your beauty. If it weren't for the fact that I'm slightly stronger than them, what do you think would have happened to us? Chapter 1396. Hua Xiaojun, who was shivering, suddenly calmed down. She glared at the 2 kowtowing people and said angrily, Young Master Qiao, they deserve this. Seeing that Hua Xiaojun's attitude had finally changed a little, Qin Feng was so moved that he wanted to cry. This woman was finally enlightened. That's right, they're all bad people. You can't be soft-hearted towards bad people. Go and kick them right now. Qin Feng's expression was serious. This was not a joke. Hua Xiaojun's eyes were about to fall to the ground. She pointed at her pink nose with her index finger and asked, Young Master Qiao, why you want me to kick them? Qin Feng said with an unquestionable tone, Of course it's you. Otherwise, why don't you ask Master to do it? Hua Xiaojun was so wrong that she was about to cry. She didn't blame Qin Feng for ordering her around. It was natural for Qin Feng to order her around. However, she didn't dare to kick the 2 Skycloud Sword disciples. It wasn't because she was afraid that she couldn't beat them, but because of the conservative mindset in her bones. After hesitating for a while, Hua Xiaojun said tearfully, Young Master Qiao, please spare this lowly servant. I don't dare to hit them. Qin Feng was moved that Hua Xiaojun's mindset had changed. Now he was depressed again. Why don't you dare to hit them? Are you afraid that they'll fight back? Don't worry, I'll support you here. If anyone dares to fight back, I'll cut off their heads. Qin Feng was afraid that Hua Xiaojun wouldn't believe him, so he shouted at the 2 kowtowing people with a cold expression, I'll let Xiaojun kick you. Do you dare to fight back? The two disciples felt sullen and started to suspect that there was something wrong with Qin Feng's brain. However, they didn't dare to show it at all. They even smiled and said, No, we definitely won't fight back. We deserve to be hit. Please, eldest miss, give us a beating. The two completely put down their dignity to live. Hua Xiaozhen's face was full of disbelief. Before she met Qin Feng, her impression of the Sacred Gate disciples was that they were all high and mighty. Their status was even higher than the officials in the city's yamen. However, these disciples were like wild dogs in front of young Master Qiao. They were even worse than dogs. Xiaozhen, go quickly. Those two guys are waiting for you to kick them. Qin Feng continued to encourage her. Hua Xiaozhen clenched her fists and carefully walked to the two. She really didn't want to fight, but young Master Qiao repeatedly ordered her to throw caution to the wind. She suddenly lifted her beautiful leg and kicked one of them. She didn't use any strength in that kick, and Qin Feng wondered if she had kicked that person's body. Suddenly, there was a scream in the air. The disciple flipped backward and fell to the ground, clutching his chest as if he was about to die. Ugh. So painful, eldest miss kick is so painful. Hua Xiaozhen was stunned at first, but when she came back to her senses, she burst into tears. She hurriedly ran back into Qin Feng's arms, and her body trembled shockingly. Ooh. Qiao, young Master Qiao, what should we do? I hurt someone. Qin Feng's face darkened with anger. He realized that there were many acting experts in China. Fortunately, there was no entertainment industry here. Otherwise, these Sacred Gate disciples would all be best actors. Damn you, do you think I'm stupid? If you shout again, I'll kill you with one slash. Qin Feng's roar scared the disciple who was rolling on the ground into silence. He knelt on the ground again and didn't say a word, as if nothing had happened. Hua Xiaozhen stopped crying and looked at the person she had kicked in disbelief. Was this guy acting just now? You really are a bad guy? Hua Xiaozhen complained angrily. The disciple was so scared that he began to kowtow and beg for mercy. Hero, please spare me. I didn't mean to cooperate with eldest miss and make her look powerful. Qin Feng rolled his eyes and raised his hand. Instantly, the sound of the wind rang out. The disciple was so scared that his face turned pale. He waited for 10 seconds and found that he was still alive. He glanced to his side and found that his companion was dead. Qin Feng's disorderly style of doing things confused the disciple. Fortunately, the other person who had just died couldn't speak anymore. Otherwise, he would have ridiculed him. He had knelt for a long time, so why did Qin Feng kill him? Great hero you are. The disciple who was left alive looked confused. Hua Xiaozhen was confused by Qin Feng's actions. There's still some use in keeping you alive. Now, I'll ask you some questions. If you hide anything, you'll end up like those three. Qin Feng's voice was cold. The disciple hurriedly said, Hero, don't worry. I'll tell you everything I know. What's your name? Hero, I'm He Chun, an ordinary disciple of Sky Cloud Sword Sect. Right now, I'm at the 4th layer of True Qi. He Chun was afraid that his answer would make Qin Feng unhappy, so he told him everything he knew. Just say what you want to ask. If you don't, then don't say anything. Qin Feng impatiently interrupted him. Do you know the location of the Thousand Shadow Sect? He Chun was surprised and said, Hero, only the disciples of the sect know the locations of the great sects of the divine Great Land. Disciples from other sects can't find out. Qin Feng guessed this and continued to ask, Then did you see any disciples of the Thousand Shadow Sect at Fire Beacon City? I followed Senior He Chao to guard the entrance of Fire Beacon City for 4 to 5 days. I saw many disciples from other sects, but I didn't see anyone from the Thousand Shadow Sect. Hero, are you looking for disciples from the Thousand Shadow Sect? Qin Feng nodded and said, That's right, I'm looking for disciples from the Thousand Shadow Sect. Do you have any way? He Chun's eyes turned around. Fire Beacon City is the only public city in the divine Great Land. Disciples from the other 8 great cities often come here to shop and train. It just so happens that the Science and Technology exhibition is going to be held in 3 days. At that time, there will be many disciples from other sects coming to visit. Maybe you will meet people from the Thousand Shadow sect. Qin Feng's eyes lit up, but he still had some doubts. Science and technology exhibition? What is that? He Chun looked at Qin Feng in disbelief and wondered if this person was someone from the divine Great Land. He didn't even know about the science and technology exhibition. However, he didn't dare to speak carelessly, so he smiled and said, "Hero, the Science and Technology Exhibition is a large-scale exhibition that Fire Beacon City holds every year. It can attract many people. Speaking of which, the products in this Science and Technology Museum are quite strange. They are all rare things in the divine Great Land. I heard that they were obtained from the outside world, but I don't know the specifics." Hearing the words, outside world, Qin Feng and Hua Xiaojun became nervous. Currently, Qin Feng was wanted by all the sacred gates, so Hua Xiaojun was afraid that his identity would be exposed. Qin Feng, on the other hand, quickly calmed down. He didn't think that Fire Beacon City would have a science and technology museum. What kind of things would be displayed in the Science and Technology Museum? Qin Feng was looking forward to it. After getting some useful information, Qin Feng planned to kill He Chao with a fire blade, but after thinking about it, he decided to keep him alive. Qin Feng was worried about how to complete the mission to change Hua Xiaojun's mind. Now that there was a test subject, it was exactly what he wanted. "Hero, I've told you everything I know, please don't kill me." He Chun realized that Qin Feng had asked all the questions he needed to ask, so he quickly began to beg for mercy. Qin Feng picked him up and casually threw a pill into He Chun's mouth. He Chun was so scared that he covered his throat and wanted to spit out the pill. "Hero, what did you give me to eat?" He Chun anxiously asked. "It's just poison, you don't need to be so nervous," Qin Feng said calmly. He Chun patted his chest and calmed down. In the next second, he suddenly jumped up and screamed, "What? You gave me poison? Didn't you say you wouldn't kill me? You untrustworthy piece of trash, I'll fight you to the death." He Chun realized that he was going to die, so he suddenly swung his fist. Qin Feng stood in place without moving and slowly said, "I gave you poison, but I don't have to kill you. As long as you perform well, I'll give you the antidote later." "Huh? Are you going to hit me? It seems like there's no point in keeping you alive." When Qin Feng finished speaking, He Chun rushed in front of him. His originally fierce fist landed on Qin Feng's chest, but the strength was greatly changed. It became like he was massaging Qin Feng's chest. "Hero Qiao, how could I dare to attack you? I saw that you must be tired after standing for so long, so I'll massage you to relax." Hua Xiaojun was about to vomit from He Chun's hypocrisy. She quickly grabbed the corner of Qin Feng's clothes and reminded him, "Young Master Qiao, let him go. You can't keep this kind of person by your side." He Chun was so excited that he wanted to cry out. He couldn't wait to leave, but he heard Qin Feng say, "Let him follow us for a few days. We're not familiar with Fire Beacon City, and we don't know where the Science and Technology Exhibition will be held in 3 days. Plus, we're lacking a lackey to serve us tea. This person is just right." Knowing that Qin Feng spared his life because he lacked a servant, He Chun almost died from anger. Hua Xiaojun was still a bit worried. She couldn't understand Qin Feng's thoughts, but seeing that Qin Feng had already made up his mind, she couldn't persuade him otherwise. The three of them left the small alley. Knowing that there would be a science and technology exhibition in 3 days, and that there was a high chance of encountering the Thousand Shadow Sect's disciples, Qin Feng didn't plan on looking for them on the streets. He first needed to find a place to stay. He Chun was quite familiar with Fire Beacon City, so he quickly found a hotel to stay in. Moreover, he paid for the rooms. They got a total of 2 rooms. Qin Feng and Hua Xiaojun stayed in the superior room, while He Chun stayed in the most ordinary room. Thinking about the price of 1 silver coin for a night in the superior room, He Chun's heart continuously bled. "Young Master Qiao, why did you keep He Chun by your side? That guy isn't sincere and will definitely take revenge on you." When only she and Qin Feng were left in the room, Hua Xiaojun finally said what she had been holding back the entire time. Qin Feng didn't care about He Chun. That guy was only at the 4th level of true qi. If he dared to play any tricks, Qin Feng could kill him at any time. Xiaojun, call He-chun over. Qin Feng suddenly said. Hua Xiaojun thought that Qin Feng had listened to her suggestion and became happy. Young Master Qiao, why don't I just tell him that you can leave now? Qin Feng rolled his eyes. I didn't say I could let him leave. Call him over to serve us. Since he had nothing to do, Qin Feng decided to speed up his mission to change Hua Xiaojun's thoughts. Chapter 1397. Hua Xiaojun was depressed. She couldn't understand why Qin Feng asked He-chun to stay. If he lacked a servant to serve tea, Hua Xiaojun felt that she could take good care of young Master Qiao. 5 minutes later, Hua Xiaojun still obeyed Qin Feng's orders and brought He-chun into the house. Along the way, He-chun kept peeking at Hua Xiaojun's graceful figure. If it wasn't for the fact that he was afraid of being poisoned and Qin Feng's powerful skills, his bestial nature would have erupted and dominated this woman. Hero Qiao, what orders do you have for me? He-chun put away the perverted look in his eyes and looked at Qin Feng fawningly. Qin Feng ignored him and waved at Hua Xiaojun. Xiaojun, come into my arms. Hua Xiaojun was shy, but she obediently lowered her head and walked to Qin Feng's side. When she sat down, she seemed nervous and uneasy. She still felt that she shouldn't sit with young Master Qiao. He couldn't help but touch Hua Xiaojun's soft body a few times. Qin Feng then looked at He-chun. What are you still standing there for, you lackey? Hurry and pour us a cup of tea. Qin Feng acted like a young master, making He-chun so angry that he secretly gritted his teeth. As a disciple of Skycloud Sword, other than serving tea to the sect elders and sect master, when had he ever been reduced to doing such menial work for outsiders? Hua Xiaojun was so scared that she cried out, Young Master Qiao, it's better to let this lowly servant pour tea. Qin Feng hugged Hua Xiaojun tightly in his arms and didn't let her get up. Why are you pouring tea? You're his master now. How can a master pour tea for a servant? But my status is lowly, how can I? Hua Xiaojun was so anxious that she was about to cry. He-chun was a sacred gate disciple. Qin Feng didn't care. Even if Skycloud Sword's great elder or sect master came, he wouldn't give them face, let alone a mere sect disciple. I said you're his master. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll sell you. Qin Feng was a little angry. His words scared Hua Xiaojun into immediately shutting up. He-chun was stunned at the door, full of depression. When he robbed Qin Feng previously, he realized that Qin Feng was sick in the head. Now, he was even more certain of his guess. What are you waiting for? Don't you want your head anymore? Qin Feng glared at He-chun, scaring him into immediately pouring 2 cups of tea. Qin Feng took a cup. Hua Xiaojun was so scared that she trembled. She stretched out her hand and took it back. She didn't dare to take the teacup. Qin Feng was constantly paying attention to Hua Xiaojun's condition. Seeing her expression, he felt a bit helpless. Xiaojun, don't be afraid. Drink some tea to moisten your throat. Only then did Hua Xiaojun carefully take the teacup and nervously take a sip. Before she could swallow the tea, she suddenly heard Qin Feng yell, You dog servant, what kind of tea did you pour? It almost scalded my mouth. Little Zhen, don't drink it. Spit it out. Spit it out on that dog servant. Hua Xiaojun cried. She felt as though she was going to be ruined by Qin Feng. The tea she drank was clearly not hot, and the temperature was just right. How would she dare to spit on He-chun? She was so nervous that she choked on the tea. Cough cough, young Master Qiao, Hua Xiaojun coughed. Qin Feng lightly patted her back, glared at He-chun, and yelled, Look at what you've done. You choked on eldest Mississippi. Even 100 of your dog lives can't pay for it. He-chun almost slammed the table and left. However, when he thought of the serious consequences of doing so, he could only swallow his anger and stand to the side. Hua Xiaojun was so anxious that she wanted to speak, but she coughed so badly that she couldn't speak. Qin Feng continued to yell, What are you waiting for? Kneel and apologize to eldest Mississippi. Murderous intent flashed through He-chun's eyes. However, the instant Qin Feng raised his hand, he was so scared that he immediately kneeled. He had seen how terrifying Qin Feng was when he raised his hand to kill. Even now, he still had lingering fears. Eldest Miss, It's all this servant's fault. This servant deserves to be hit. He Chun knelt on the ground and started to slap his mouth. Hua Xiaojun was incomparably familiar with these actions. When she was a servant girl for the daughters of wealthy families, she often knelt and slapped herself because of small mistakes. Hua Xiaojun anxiously struggled in Qin Feng's arms. With her stubborn mind, she couldn't stand this kind of treatment. Young Master Qiao, this lowly servant is begging you. Don't do this again. Seeing Hua Xiaojun crying unhappily and looking like she was suffering, Qin Feng couldn't bear it anymore. He yelled at He Chun, "Get out!" He Chun felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. He crawled up and ran out, looking as if he was deeply afraid that Qin Feng would call him back. Only Qin Feng and He Chun were left in the room. Hua Xiaojun was still sobbing softly. Her body trembled non-stop. It looked like she was really frightened. "Xiaojun, are you afraid?" Qin Feng's voice was gentle. I feel guilty." Hua Xiaojun replied while crying. "Why do you feel guilty?" Xiaojun's status is lowly, but she made a sacred gate disciple kneel before me. I. Hua Xiaojun's sobs intensified as she spoke. Qin Feng said with a solemn expression, "Why is your status lowly? Who said your status is lowly? What's the difference between you and He Chun? You're both humans. From the moment you were born, you're the same. What right do you have to be lowly than him?" Once Qin Feng opened his mouth, he couldn't stop. Hua Xiaojun suddenly froze and looked at Qin Feng in a daze. Her beautiful eyes suddenly became confused. If you do something wrong, you have to kneel and be punished. You were born lowly. You've suffered since you were young, and you've been bullied more and more ruthlessly. Look at that bastard. He's done all kinds of bad things, and he even wanted to rob me and take over your body. He's not punished for his grave mistakes. I merely asked him to bring you a cup of tea, and you can't accept it? Are you only satisfied when I get robbed and killed, and you get bullied and humiliated by him? Hua Xiaojun's expression changed unpredictably. For the first time, a struggle appeared in the depths of her beautiful eyes. She seriously analyzed Qin Feng's every word. For the first time, she doubted her lowly status. "Young Master Qiao, I don't think that way. I don't want you to be bullied, and I don't want to be bullied and humiliated by others. If possible, I hope that I'll only be dominated by young Master Qiao for the rest of my life." Hua Xiaojun's tone was a bit anxious. She hesitated for a while before continuing, "Young Master Qiao is right, that guy is a bad person. We shouldn't be too good to him." Qin Feng's expression was as cold as frost, but his heart was blooming with joy. He knew that what he did and what he said were effective. Hua Xiaojun seemed to be enlightened. "Xiaojun, that's right. Then, do you know how to face He Chun and the others in the future?" Qin Feng looked at her expectantly. Hua Xiaojun gritted her teeth, as if she had made a difficult decision. "Yes. Next time that guy pours me tea, I won't refuse." Qin Feng rolled his eyes and almost fainted from anger. He had been busy for half a day, and all he had to do was persuade Hua Xiaojun to accept He Chun's tea? "Xiaojun, it's not just about pouring tea. You have to change your stubborn way of thinking. You have to know that you have an equal life with everyone else. You and I don't distinguish between high and low, understand?" Hua Xiaojun looked at Qin Feng as if she was looking at an idiot. She shook her head and said, "No, I can't be like young Master Qiao. I'm your servant, so my status is lower than yours." Qin Feng resisted the urge to curse. He finally understood that Hua Xiaojun accepted He Chun's tea as a punishment for treating He Chun as a bad person. Her original way of thinking hadn't changed at all. Qin Feng slapped his forehead and once again realized that this task couldn't be completed in a short period of time. He might as well not force Hua Xiaojun and let everything take its course. Seeing Qin Feng lying on the bed without saying anything, Hua Xiaojun's face was full of grievance and depression. She couldn't understand why young Master Qiao always liked to anger himself. "Young Master Qiao, you must be exhausted after a long day of travel. Let this lowly servant massage your body." Hua Xiaojun had already sat on the side of the bed and gently massaged Qin Feng. She inadvertently had some thoughts. Now that Ling Yuno was gone, young Master Qiao couldn't release some of the emotions in his body. Hua Xiaozhen carefully touched Qin Feng's clothes and moved her little face closer. She felt that as a lowly servant, she had to serve her master well. Qin Feng pretended to be asleep and didn't know anything as he enjoyed Hua Xiaozhen's service. At the same time, on the bustling streets of Fire Beacon City, a group of beauties attracted the attention of many people. Ruo, we can't just keep searching like this. I noticed that the people here all have very high realms. It will be dangerous for us 8 women to walk on the streets. As a godly ninja from the Japanese country, Chiyoya had always been cautious. She had already noticed that there were dozens of eyes staring at them in the dark, and there were even 7 or 8 people following them. The other women slightly furrowed their brows. Everyone agreed with Chiyoya's words. It was already the 3rd day since they arrived at Fire Beacon City. Excluding the first day when they arrived, the 8 women found a restaurant to sleep for the night. For the remaining 2 days, they searched for Qin Feng's whereabouts, but to no avail. The 8 women stopped at a secluded corner and began to discuss their next plan. They found that they had been in the Absolute Door for 3 days, but they still didn't understand the situation here. Chiyoya is right, the people of this Absolute Door have very high realms. Along the way, the weakest person I met was only at the 2nd level of True Qi. As for the rest, I simply couldn't see through their realms. The 1,000 Illusion Child had a dignified expression. Hua Yan followed up. According to the information on the streets these past few days, this Absolute Door is not as simple as we imagined. Not only is there Fire Beacon City, there are other cities as well. We were sent to Fire Beacon City through a formation, but Qin Feng might not even be in this city. Rin Xiaoyao nodded her head to show her agreement with Hua Yan's words, then she added, I suggest sisters to first make a plan. Blindly searching like this is definitely not a good idea. The women all became silent. Looking at the current situation, they indeed needed to make a good plan because they realized that they would be staying at the Absolute Door for a very long time this time. Su Ruoro was silent for a moment before suggesting, how about this, let's first find someone to find out the specific situation of the Absolute Door. We will first understand the geography and power distribution of this place before making a decision. Chapter 1398. The girls were startled and instinctively took a few steps back while cautiously looking over. 3 men wearing the same white robe with the pattern of an ice flower engraved on their chests came. The man who spoke stood at the front. It seemed like he had the highest status while the other 2 followed on his left and right. Sorry, we don't have time to drink tea. The 1,000 Illusion Child was the oldest among the girls, so she instinctively stood in front of everyone. Xian Qianzhong's gaze swept over the girls. Although his expression was calm, his heart was already in turmoil. The divine Great Land was filled with beauties, but he was still attracted by Su Ruoro's group. Most importantly, there were 8 fairies here. Ladies, don't be afraid, I have no ill intentions. I have already told you my sex identity, what else do you have to worry about? Xian Qianzhong's gentlemanly demeanor made the girls relax a little. Coincidentally, they were about to find someone to ask about the Death Gate ground, so Hua Yan asked, Young noble, may I ask what kind of place this Fire Beacon City is? Xian Qianzhong and the 2 disciples behind him were startled. Who in the divine Great Land didn't know about Fire Beacon City? This was the only public city that gathered the disciples and commoners of the 8 great cities. Heroines, you don't know about Fire Beacon City? Xian Qianzhong frowned and began to wonder about the identity of these women. The girls were nervous. They didn't dare to reveal their identities in the Death Gate ground or else they would die for sure. Hua Yan reacted quickly and quickly said, Young noble misunderstood, we came from another place. Although we have heard of Fire Beacon City, this is our first time here, so we are not familiar with it. Xian Qianzhong's confusion disappeared as he smiled. So that's how it is. In fact, this is my 2nd time coming to Fire Beacon City. Normally, I have to cultivate in the sect, so it's rare for me to come out. This Fire Beacon City is the only public city in the divine Great Land. It gathers people from the 8 great cities. Because of the chaotic crowd, Fire Beacon City's security has always been bad. It seems like the 8 heroines are also cultivators, Which sacred gate are you from? Xian Qianzhong revealed a lot of information, causing the 8 girls to be shocked. They had always thought that the Death Gate territory was the same as the outer world. It was just a training ground in the wilderness. However, from what Xian Qianzhong had said, it seemed to be a huge country with 8 cities. Although they were full of doubts, it was not good for the girls to show it. I'm sorry, young master. When we came out of seclusion, the elders told us not to reveal the sex information. Hua Yan continued to make up a story. Xian Qianzhong was not suspicious. Many sect's disciples would hide their identities to protect their sect's location. This was because many people would follow their disciples to find their sect's location, so they had to be careful. It's fine. Since the 8 heroines are really disciples of the Holy Gate, why don't we travel together? The Science and Technology exhibition will be held in 3 days, and there will be many disciples from various sects coming. The 8 heroines are all beautiful goddesses, and it will be very dangerous for us to travel alone. Xian Qianzhong maintained his gentlemanly demeanor. No one would think that he was a bad person. Although Su Ruoro and the others were still on their guard, they weren't as vigilant as they were when they first saw him. There is a Science and Technology exhibition here? Su Ruoro exclaimed. Xian Qianzhong knew that this was the 8 women's first time at Fire Beacon City, so he was not surprised that they didn't know about the exhibition. That's right, the exhibition in 3 days will be very interesting. There will be many treasures that have never been seen before. I heard that these things were brought in from the outside world, but it is hard to know if they are real or fake. The girls were surprised. They didn't think that there would be a Science and Technology museum in this dangerous place. A sliver of hope rose in their hearts. If Qin Feng was also at Fire Beacon City, then he would definitely go to the Science and Technology Museum. Young master, do you know where the Science and Technology Museum is? When is the specific opening time? Su Ruoro had already decided to go to the museum, so she asked for details. Xian Qianzhong didn't answer directly and smiled instead. Heroines, my guest room is right in front. How about I invite everyone to my room for a chat? The Science and Technology Museum is a long story, so let's all sit down and have a cup of tea. The girls looked at each other and were hesitant. They felt that Xian Qianzhong didn't have any evil intentions, but they were still in a strange place, so they were always on guard. Xian Qianzhong saw their hesitation and continued, no problem, if the heroines have other matters, then I won't disturb you any longer. We will take our leave first. Xian Qianzhong turned around and left after saying this. How could he be willing to leave? He already knew that the 8 girls were not familiar with Fire Beacon City and had many questions to ask him. Sure enough, he only took a few steps before he heard Su Ruoro's pleasant voice coming from behind him. Young master, wait. Under Xian Qianzhong's lead, the 8 girls arrived at a restaurant and finally entered a room at the corner of the 3rd floor. The room was quite spacious. At the very least, the 8 girls and Xian Qianzhong's group of 3 did not feel crowded. Seeing the girls being tricked into the room, Xian Qianzhong's eyes flashed with an imperceptible smirk. Qianbei, Qianhui, go pour some tea for the heroines. Xian Qianzhong gave his order and gave the 2 a meaningful glance. The 2 junior brothers immediately understood and went to the side to get busy. Xian Qianzhong then invited the girls to sit down. They sat in a circle on the wooden chairs and were a bit reserved. If it wasn't for the fact that they wanted to find out more about Fire Beacon City, they would not have come to Xian Qianzhong's room. Young master, please tell us in detail about the Science and Technology exhibition. Su Ruoro did not waste any time. She wanted to ask about the important information and immediately leave. Xian Qianzhong smiled and was not in a hurry to answer. Heroines, don't be in such a hurry. The sky is getting dark and there is enough time for us to slowly chat. Su Ruoro's expression changed. She felt that Xian Qianzhong's smile had changed a bit. Young master, we still have matters to attend to tonight. Please hurry up and tell us. The 8 girls became a bit cautious. At this time, Xian Qianbei and Xian Qianhui came over with tea and secretly gave their first brother a meaningful glance. All right, then I won't waste any more of your time. Have some tea first, I'll tell you everything I know. Xian Qianzhong handed the tea to the girls one by one. They were quite thirsty after a day of walking on the streets. When Zhang Kuku was about to drink a cup of tea, Qianhuan child snatched it away. Kuku, you are not thirsty, there is no need to drink. Zhang Kuku didn't understand and angrily glared at Qianhuan child. Who said I am not thirsty? Give me back my tea. After hearing Qianhuan child's words, the other girls who were about to drink their tea suddenly became vigilant. They understood Qianhuan child's intention. Who knew if the tea was drugged or not? Seeing Zhang Ke throwing a tantrum, Xiao Shishir hugged her and said, Kuku, stop it. Let this young master finish talking and we will go back. Zhang Ke finally calmed down, but the smile on Xian Qianzhong's face suddenly disappeared. He coldly glared at the girls as if he had turned into a different person. Young master, what is the meaning of this? Su Ruo raised her brows and began to circulate her qi. What is the meaning of this? Why do you think I called all of you back? I advise you to take off your clothes and lie on the ground. If I'm done, I might spare your lives. Danger lurked everywhere in Fire Beacon City. Disciples from different sects were constantly fighting each other. Even Qin Feng had to be careful when he stepped into the city. Su Ruo and the other girls felt like they had fallen into a wolf's den. Xian Qianzhong completely revealed his fox's tail. The 8 girls stood up at the same time. Hua Yan was enraged and lashed out with her whip without saying a word. You bastard, this old lady will teach you a lesson. Crackle. The blood shadow whip exploded in the air. In an instant, dozens of whip shadows filled the room. Xian Qianzhong sneered and stood in the same place without retreating. When the whip shadows were about to hit his head, he casually threw a palm strike and Hua Yan was sent flying. Yen, are you all right? Xiao Shishir was frightened and ran to the corner to check on Hua Yan. Ren Xiaoyao's eyes turned red. She raised her hand and thrust the waning moon sword. Shy moon sword style. It looked simple, but a crescent moon appeared behind Ren Xiaoyao. The air in front of her exploded as dozens of sword qi surged forward. Xian Qianzhong didn't move. He easily threw a palm strike and injured Ren Xiaoyao. In just half a minute, 2 peak stage inner qi beauties were on the ground. The remaining people were angry and anxious. Qianhuan child suddenly took a step forward and pushed the girls behind her. She yelled, Ruo, take everyone and run. Su Ruo was startled and couldn't make up her mind. She didn't want to leave Qianhuan behind, but she knew they were no match for Xian Qianzhong. If they didn't leave now, they would all be ruined. Ha, wanna leave? Do you think you can? Xian Qianzhong sneered before Su Ruo could react. The 2 junior brothers ran to the door and blocked the only exit like 2 mountains. The girls were anxious. They knew something big was going to happen today. They didn't want to give up. It was only the 3rd day since they came to the death gate. Sisters, if we really can't beat him, let's kill ourselves together, Su Ruo suddenly shouted. The girls quickly understood what she meant. If they couldn't beat him, they would be raped by Xian Qianzhong and the other 2. However, they would rather die than betray Qin Feng. I don't understand you women. You won't let me do it even if I die? Why do you have to do this? Xian Qianzhong couldn't understand the loyalty these women had for Qin Feng. Since they decided to fight to the death, the girls didn't waste any more words. Su Ruo leaped into the air and swung her sword. Flower petals flew out from her sleeves and circled around her like butterflies. She looked like a fairy descending from the heavens. However, it wasn't as pretty as it looked. There was a killer move hidden within. Chapter 1399. Rumble. Xian Qianzhong's attack looked light, but it was extremely destructive. Su Ruo was at the peak of stage 9 inner qi, but she could not defend herself against this attack. Su Ruo also fell. She lay next to Hua Yan and Ren Xiaoyao. Xiao Shishir's face was covered in tears. However, 3 more figures flew over. It was Qianhuan child, Xiaoya, and Shaoli. The room was filled with explosions. The wooden tables and chairs were shattered. The 2 disciples were ready to help, but they heard Xian Qianzhong's arrogant voice. You don't need to come. I can take down these ants by myself. Rumble. Qianhuan child attacked with both palms. Hundreds of palm winds condensed in the air. The violent chi seemed like it was going to flip the roof over. However, Xian Qianzhong kicked her and sent her flying to the ground. Only the two girls were left in the battle. Qiuya was so angry that her face was as cold as ice. She had used all the killing techniques that she had learned. All kinds of flying knives, darts, and illusions seemed unstoppable, but they were all broken by Xian Qianzhong's punch. Xiao Li gritted her teeth as she watched her sisters fall one by one. She was able to last until now because of the power of the Ghost Cultivator's secret technique. However, Xiao Li's ghost cultivation was too low. She had just reached stage 8 inner chi not long ago, and her strength was comparable to a stage 9 inner chi martial artist. Xiao Li fell to the corner of the room after Xian Qianzhong's attack. The chilly wind in the room disappeared. In a short 5 minutes, the girls were defeated. Xian Qianzhong walked up to them with a smirk. Heh! You guys dare to resist with your puny strength? I am a stage 5 inner chi martial artist. If I didn't show mercy, you guys would be dead already. Hua Yen spat out a mouthful of blood. Kill us if you have the guts? Do you think we are afraid of death? Xian Qianzhong's smirk grew wider. Hee hee. I can't bear to kill you guys. I want you guys to warm my bed. Shut up, you animal. Let us go. Rin Xiaoyao yelled angrily. The girls glared at Xian Qianzhong coldly. They were ready to commit suicide if this man took another step forward. The two disciples had already walked over with evil smiles on their faces. Eldest senior brother, there are so many beauties here. Can you share 2 with us? Xian Qianzhong waved his hand and said, All right, you guys pick 2 and go play over there. After I finish the rest, we'll trade. The 2 junior brothers were grinning from ear to ear and had already pounced forward to capture Qin Feng. The women's hearts sank and a look of despair appeared in their eyes. They were unwilling to accept this. They didn't even get to see Qin Feng one last time and they were going to die just like that? Rumble. Just as Rin Xiaoyao's sword was about to stab into her heart, a loud sound startled the women, causing them to stop what they were doing. Everyone's expression changed drastically, and their eyeballs almost fell to the ground. They suddenly remembered that Zhang Kuke had not even made a move yet, but that insensitive woman had already sent 2 disciples flying with a single punch. Kiki. The girls were so shocked that they couldn't even form a complete sentence. Zhang Kuke looked at Xian Qianzhong angrily and complained, What kind of bullshit body is this? Why does it always disappear at the most crucial moment? Now that it's back to normal, watch me beat you up, you little bastard. It turned out that Zhang Kuke had been trying to attack Qin Feng, but she realized that her body was motionless. Under her frenzied stimulation, the ancient giant beast in her body finally awakened. At this moment, she couldn't wait to kill Xian Qianzhong and the other 2 disciples. Xian Qianzhong was dumbfounded. He stared at Zhang Kuke as if he had seen a ghost. He had already measured the strength of all the women, and Zhang Kuke was the only one with no aura in her body. He didn't expect that this little girl, who was ignored in the beginning, would explode like a dinosaur. You, who the hell are you? I, your father, am an expert of the 5th layer of true qi. I advise you to surrender obediently. Xian Qianzhong, who had always been condescending, suddenly became nervous. He looked at the 2 junior brothers who were sent flying to the ground. They were experts of the 4th layer of true qi. You little bastard. You want me to surrender? Is there something wrong with your brain? How dare you hurt my good sisters? I'll teach you a lesson. Zhang Kuke was already furious. She had never been so angry before. As soon as she finished speaking, she threw a punch. The air suddenly trembled as if an ancient beast was charging at them. Xian Qianzhong was so scared that he didn't even have the courage to face it head-on. He quickly jumped to the side. His punch missed, but it smashed a crack on the ground that went straight to the corner of the wall. Damn it. Don't kill yourself. This girl is a bit fierce. Let's attack her together. Xian Qianzhong's expression became more and more solemn. He still couldn't see through Zhang Kuke's realm, but judging from the movement caused by her punch, she was at least at stage 5 true qi. The 2 disciples were indeed pretending to be dead. They had no choice but to come to Xian Qianzhong's side. The 3 of them glared at Zhang Kuke. Before they could make a move, Zhang Kuke threw another punch. You guys can't even withstand a single blow from Cuckoo's big iron fist. Zhang Cuckoo clearly had a small fist, but she insisted on saying that she had a big iron fist. However, Xian Qianzhong and the other two didn't care about it. Their expressions changed. The punch seemed to be able to split the sky and earth. Rumble. The punch landed and collided with the trio's attack in midair. Zhang Cuckoo stood rooted to the ground like a mountain, but Qian Bei and Qian Hui were sent flying backward, causing a layer of the wall to fall off. Xian Qianzhong retreated and finally stabilized his body by the wall. He looked at Zhang Cuckoo in disbelief. The thought of running away had already sprouted in his mind. This is what you get for injuring my good sisters. I'll stomp you to death. Zhang Cuckoo seemed to have changed into another person. Her eyes were bloodshot, and her every movement was like the roar of a wild beast. She leaped forward at lightning speed. When she reappeared, she stomped on one of the men. A loud explosion sounded. The two men were stomped to death by Zhang Cuckoo. Rumble. The room suddenly became quiet. Only the sound of the explosion could be heard. Su Ruoro and the other girls covered their mouths and looked at Zhang Cuckoo in disbelief. It was as if this was the first time they met this woman. Her strength was truly shocking. What are you trying to do? Don't come near me. I don't want to play with you anymore. Get out of my room now. Zhang Cuckoo didn't even bother to look at the two men after stomping them to death. She turned around and approached Xian Qianzhong. Xian Qianzhong was so scared that his legs were trembling. He thought he had the 8 beauties in his hands, but now he realized that he had captured a tiger. Let you go? Do you think that's possible? Zhang Cuckoo's words were spoken calmly, but her voice was like the roar of an ancient giant beast, causing the entire room to shake. She threw another punch. There was no fancy fist technique to speak of, but it was this simple punch that was mixed with an incomparably violent aura. No one dared to block it. Bang! Xian Qianzhong, who was in stage 5 of true qi, was sent flying. The wall behind him was deformed, and it felt like the wall was going to collapse at any time. The girls were so shocked that they were speechless. It felt like a dream. Zhang Cuckoo leaped down and stomped on Xian Qianzhong's right leg. A loud bang sounded, and the leg was broken. The whole room was filled with Xian Qianzhong's blood-curdling screams. He stared at Zhang Cuckoo in terror as if he had seen a demon from hell. He was filled with regret. If he could do it all over again, he would be Li Bai. No, he wouldn't dare to peep at the beauties of the girls even if he was beaten to death. Wait. Seeing that Zhang Cuckoo was about to stomp on Xian Qianzhong's head again, Su Ruoro quickly stopped her. The girls rushed over. The blood in Zhang Cuckoo's eyes gradually disappeared, and she returned to her silly expression. She pouted her lips and complained, "Ruoro, why are you pleading for that little bastard? What's going on in your head?" Su Ruoro patted Zhang Cuckoo's shoulder to calm her down. She suddenly looked at Xian Qianzhong and said, "Quick, tell me, how are the territories of the Despair Grounds divided?" Zhang Cuckoo understood that Su Ruoro kept Xian Qianzhong alive to ask him questions. Xian Qianzhong was suffering from internal injuries, and one of his legs was broken by Zhang Cuckoo. The girls were not worried that he would run away. Xian Qianzhong was infuriated. As a genius disciple of the mysterious ice sect, he was defeated by a bunch of bitches. However, even if he was unhappy, he could only suppress it under Zhang Cuckoo's pressure. "Ladies, please spare my life. I'll tell you everything you want to know. Please don't kill me." Xian Qianzhong began to beg for mercy. Zhang Cuckoo kicked Xian Qianzhong impatiently. The seemingly light kick sent Xian Qianzhong flying, and the wall behind him shook a few times. This time, it seemed like it was really going to collapse. The girls were speechless. Su Ruoro quickly pulled Zhang Cuckoo back. She was determined to kill Xian Qianzhong if she kicked him again. "My little sister has a bad temper. Stop talking nonsense and answer my questions." Su Ruoro's face turned cold. Xian Qianzhong was so depressed that he almost vomited blood. He did not know how a woman could be so strong. I'll tell you. There are 9 cities in the Divine Continent, and Fire Beacon City is the only public city. The other 8 cities are the private territories of the sacred sects. The disciples of the sacred sects are not allowed to enter these cities. However, distant Ice City and Meteor City were conquered by powerful people. Now, the two cities have merged and are called Immortal Spirit City. When Xian Qianzhong finished speaking, the girl's expressions changed drastically. Hua Yan exclaimed, "What? Immortal Spirit City? Are you telling the truth?" Immortal Spirit City was the name of Zhao Ling Xian. The reason why Qin Feng went to the extinction sect not long ago was to look for Zhao Ling Xian. Xian Qianzhong was startled. He was puzzled. Where did these girls come from? They don't even know about the 8 cities in the Divine Continent? Also, the matter of Immortal Spirit City has caused quite a commotion in the Divine Continent. Who in the Divine Continent has not heard of it? However, he did not dare to ask any more questions. He quickly said, "How would I dare to lie to the 8 heroines? Almost everyone knows about the matter of Immortal Spirit City. If you don't believe me, you can ask someone else and you'll know the truth." The girls fell into deep thought. They felt that Immortal Spirit City was built by Qin Feng. According to the time of the war, it was also the time when Qin Feng came to the extinction sect. He named it Immortal Spirit City so that Zhao Ling Xian would hear about it. "Not good, that brat escaped," Xian Qianzhong suddenly shouted. While the girls were still in a daze, Xian Qianzhong broke through the wall and jumped down from the 3rd floor. Didn't that guy's leg break? How did he escape? Zhang Kuku was depressed. Xian Qianzhong angrily shouted, "He must have some pills on him. It's not hard to break his bone in a short period of time. That brat really got lucky this time. We can't stay here for long. Let's hurry to Immortal Spirit City." Chapter 1400. Fate was a very important thing. When Qin Feng brought Hua Xiaozhen to Fire Beacon City, Su Ruoro and the other girls went to Spirit Immortal City. They brushed past each other and only needed that little bit of fate to meet again. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Fire Beacon City's annual Science and Technology exhibition was starting tonight. Qin Feng spent these 3 days trying to change Hua Xiaozhen's thoughts. He Chun and Hua Xiaozhen were about to be toyed with. He Chun concluded that Qin Feng was sick while Hua Xiaozhen felt that young Noble Qiao's thoughts were very dangerous. The 3 of them arrived at the Science and Technology Museum. Although there was still an hour before the exhibition started, the hall was already filled with people. Some people who came late were even blocked at the entrance. Hua Xiaozhen was amazed after entering the room. Before she met Qin Feng, she never had the chance to come to such a high-class place. Even Qin Feng was a bit excited. This Science and Technology Museum was built according to the style of the outside world. Most of the items inside were obtained from the outside world. Wow, the items inside are so magical. I heard they were obtained from the outside world? I really want to go out and see the outside world. Unfortunately, my chance was taken by other sisters. The next time the formation loosens, it will be another 20 years. The hall was bustling with noise. A group of beautiful women in purple clothes were chattering. They were all female disciples of Purple Cloud Mountain. There were also a few men in black and white clothes following them. They were from the Gate of Life and Death. "Junior Sister Ziyun, is there anything you like? I'll buy it for you." The eldest senior brother of the Gate of Life and Death lecherously stared at Ziyun's sexy figure. Ziyun coquettishly said, "Senior brother Yandan, the items in this exhibition are all very expensive. Are you really going to buy them for me?" Yandan was captivated by Ziyun's soft voice. He secretly pinched her waist and said, "As long as Junior Sister Ziyun likes it, Big Brother will get it for you no matter how expensive it is. After tonight's exhibition is over, Big Brother will take you back to my room to discuss the martial path. How about it?" The 2 of them were well aware of these ambiguous words. Ziyun coquettishly said, "Okay. I've been stuck at a breakthrough point recently. Senior brother Yandan, you have to properly guide me tonight." The 2 of them were not far from Qin Feng and Hua Xiaozhen. Hua Xiaozhen was disgusted by the scene of Qin Feng and Hua Xiaozhen publicly asking to have sex. She felt that Ziyun was not behaving like a woman, but it was none of her business. She quickly turned her attention back to the exhibits in the museum. China was still in the prosperous period of ancient Huaxia. Most of the people here wore long robes and plain clothes. The lighting tools used in the major cities were oil lamps. There were no cars or planes here, so people basically had to walk. Horses were the mounts that only the disciples of the Sacred Gate and the rich families had. However, in the Science and Technology Museum, there were various types of modern technological products, such as lighting lamps, mobile phones for communication, large LCD TVs, refrigerators, juicers. There were even 2 cars parked in an empty space in the corner. Qin Feng had no idea how these people were transported in. Wow. Young Master Qiao, this big cabinet is amazing. It's so cold inside, it can actually freeze things. Hua Xiaozhen was attracted by a large double-door refrigerator. She clapped her hands excitedly. There were too many people in the hall. Suddenly, a black shadow rushed over and knocked her to the ground. It hurts. Hua Xiaozhen pouted and crawled up. Her brows were tightly knitted. The burly man stood at the side, pointed at her and scolded, "You slut, can't you see where you're going? Don't you know that you've knocked me?" Hua Xiaozhen was frightened by the burly man. She shivered and apologized. "I am sorry, I didn't see you." The burly man was the eldest disciple of the Gate of Life and Death, Yan Dan. He was the one who knocked Hua Xiaozhen to the ground, but he still acted arrogantly. Yan Dan originally wanted to give Hua Xiaozhen 2 slaps and be done with it. However, when he walked in front of Hua Xiaozhen, he suddenly froze. His eyes were fixed on Hua Xiaozhen's delicate and pretty face. She was several times more beautiful than junior sister Ziyun. "So you're a little beauty. Seeing that you're not bad, I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. Today, you'll follow me and serve me well at night. Do you hear me?" As a disciple of the Gate of Life and Death, Yan Dan was extremely arrogant. He could tell that Hua Xiaozhen didn't have any true qi fluctuations. Even if she was dressed extravagantly, an ordinary person was nothing in front of a disciple of the Holy Gate. Hua Xiaozhen felt a little resentful, but she didn't dare to vent. She said carefully, I can't serve you. I'm already young Master Qiao's maid." Yan Dan's face turned cold and he roared, "What bullshit, young Master Qiao? Call that bastard over. See if I don't break his dog legs." Hua Xiaozhen glared at Yan Dan angrily. She didn't know where she got the courage to shout, "You're not allowed to talk about young Master Qiao like that." Yan Dan was stunned. When he regained his senses, his expression turned even colder. "Oh my, you slut, you dare to talk back to me? I think you're asking for a beating." Hua Xiaozhen hugged her head and screamed when she saw the burly man raise his hand to slap her. However, she didn't feel a slap. Instead, she felt a strong arm hug her. "Young Master Qiao?" Hua Xiaozhen opened her eyes and saw Qin Feng's ashen face. Tears of grievance flowed down her face. Qin Feng was holding onto Yan Dan's arm like a vice. No matter how hard Yan Dan tried, he couldn't break free. "Stinking brat, you dare to cause trouble for me? Do you know who I am? I'm Life and Death Sect's eldest senior brother, Yan Dan." Yan Dan glared at Qin Feng angrily and immediately announced his name. The Life and Death Sect was considered a large sect in the Divine Continent. Ordinary Holy Sect's disciples didn't dare to provoke them. However, Qin Feng's expression didn't change. He sneered, "I say, you still dare to come out and cause trouble after your balls have been castrated?" Yan Dan was stunned. He didn't understand what Qin Feng meant. Ziyun angrily said, "Senior brother Yan Dan, that brat dared to insult your name. He said you're a castrated egg." The Science and Technology Museum was filled with people. Many people had already gathered around to watch the show. When they heard Ziyun's words, the entire museum burst into laughter. Ziyun realized that he had said something wrong. He hurriedly retreated to the side and pretended that nothing had happened. Yan Dan was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. This was the first time he realized that there was something wrong with his name. "Stinking brat, you don't even care about the Life and Death Sect? I'll give you a look." Yan Dan roared and true qi suddenly surged from his body. This guy was an expert at the 5th stage of true qi. Many people who were weaker than him immediately retreated, afraid that they would be implicated if they fought. Hua Xiaozhen was so frightened that she screamed. However, she was stunned halfway through her sentence. Yen Dan's fist had just landed in front of Qin Feng's nose when he was suddenly sent flying. Boom! The sound of his landing was loud. The crowd had already dispersed. Yen Dan's bones were about to fall apart. Many people had already retreated a few meters to maintain a certain distance from Qin Feng. Yen Dan was an expert at the 5th stage of true qi, but he wasn't even able to block a single move from Qin Feng. The other 4 disciples from the Life and Death sect stood in front of Qin Feng. They all took out their weapons and glared at him. However, after witnessing Qin Feng's strength, the 4 of them didn't dare to take the initiative to attack. The one who was castrated, get over here and apologize to my servant girl. Otherwise, I'll make sure your head falls to the ground. The anger in Qin Feng's heart soared to the heavens. It was rare for Hua Xiaojun to come out to play, but she was bullied without doing anything. Was she treating him as thin air? Gasps of shock could be heard from the crowd. Many people were secretly discussing among themselves. Yen Dan had already introduced himself. No matter what, he was a member of the Life and Death sect. Yet, Qin Feng didn't give in and actually wanted him to kneel and apologize for a lowly servant girl. No one could guess Qin Feng's thoughts, and no one knew who he was. Which sect did this powerful youth belong to? Hua Xiaojun finally regained her senses. She hurriedly pulled on Qin Feng and persuaded, Young Master Qiao, I don't need to apologize. Let's just forget about it. Qin Feng knew that Hua Xiaojun was stubborn. He said in an unquestionable tone, How can I take back my words? Do you want me to lose face in front of everyone? Hua Xiaojun trembled. She was in a difficult position. Yen Dan had already forced himself to stand up. He was humiliated by Qin Feng in front of everyone. At this moment, he was so angry that he wanted nothing more than to tear Qin Feng into 1,000 pieces. What the fuck are you all standing there for? That brat doesn't put the Life and Death sect in his eyes. Everyone, let's attack together and kill him. Fire Beacon City was a chaotic place with many people. Fighting and killing were common occurrences. In this city, strength was everything. There was no logic to speak of. Everything depended on one's fists. With a roar, Yen Dan and his 4 junior brothers pounced at the same time. The 4 disciples were all at the 3rd stage of true qi. Qin Feng couldn't even be bothered to look at them. The sound of wind whistling could be heard in the hall. However, the sound was drowned out by the clamor of the crowd. No one heard the sound of wind. However, some people saw sparks flashing in the sky. Following that, the 5 people from the Life and Death sect suddenly knelt in front of Qin Feng and Hua Xiaojun. Fuck? What's going on? Are the people from the Life and Death sect so cowardly? Why are they kneeling and begging for mercy before the fight even begins? Look clearly, the knees of those 5 people are injured. That young hero is a true expert. The crowd was in an uproar. They were all stunned by the scene in front of them. This wasn't the first time Hua Xiaojun saw Qin Feng in action, but she was still shocked. She felt that young Master Qiao was too powerful. Yen Dan and the other 4 were already kneeling in a row. Each of them had an expression as if they had seen a ghost. They subconsciously looked at their thighs. There were actually long wounds on their knees. It was as if they had been burned by fire. The wounds were charred black and emitted a foul stench. You did this? Yen Dan forgot about the pain from his wounds and stared at Qin Feng in disbelief. Qin Feng didn't reply with his voice. He casually raised his hand and used a fire blade to answer Yen Dan's question. Shio. This time, many people heard the faint sound of wind whistling in the air. Before the sound faded away, Yen Dan's miserable shriek was already heard. Chapter 1401. The noisy hall fell into a deathly silence at this moment. Most of the people who came to the Science and Technology exhibition were normal disciples of the sect. As for the Holy Gate elders and sect leader, they were busy cultivating and didn't have the mood to come to the exhibition. The average strength of these disciples was at the 4th layer of true qi, and those at the 5th layer of true qi were considered above average. As for those at the 6th layer of true qi, they were tyrannical in the crowd, and Qin Feng was able to kill those at the 7th layer of true qi. He could look down on everyone present. Everyone was stunned by his strength. More than half of them didn't even see how he made his move. Under the might of the fire blade, the 4 life and death gate disciples were already trembling in fear. Yen Dan's heart was already filled with fear, but his arm had already been severed. How could he swallow this resentment? Why you dared to be so ruthless? Are you really not afraid of the life and death gate's revenge? Yen Dan knew that he wasn't Qin Feng's match, so he could only use the name of the life and death gate to suppress him. Qin Feng found it funny. Not long ago, he personally killed the life and death gate elder Yen Sheng at the entrance of distant Ice City. If he didn't know where the life and death gate was, he would have killed his way there and destroyed the entire sect. You gutless guy, why don't you tell me the address of the life and death gate? I want to kill my way there too. Qin Feng said calmly, but it caused a commotion in the crowd. Yen Dan was shocked by Qin Feng's arrogance and was angered to death by the way Qin Feng addressed him. You have guts, brat. Do you dare to say your name? The life and death gate will definitely find you again. Yen Dan planned to run away. Qin Feng didn't care at all. Recently, he was building up the reputation of Immortal Spirit City. As long as more people knew about Immortal Spirit City, Zhao Lingxian would have a chance to hear the name of the city. Now that the Science and Technology exhibition had gathered disciples from various sects, it was the best time to promote Immortal Spirit City. I'm Qiao Feng, an ordinary disciple of the Immortal Spirits sect. As soon as Qin Feng finished speaking, the crowd exclaimed. Immortal Spirit City had been in the limelight recently. So this young hero is from the Immortal Spirits sect. I heard that the Immortal Spirits sect is very powerful. They've conquered distant Ice City and Meteor City and unified them into Immortal Spirits City. That young hero is only in his early 20s, yet his skills are so impressive. Furthermore, he's just an ordinary disciple of the Spiritual Immortal sect. The Spiritual Immortal sect is going to defy the heavens. Immortal Spirits City, Immortal Spirits sect. These are all names that popped up out of nowhere. I wonder which powerful sacred sect it was before. Yen Dan withered when he heard Qin Feng's name. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that he would run into a disciple of the most mysterious sect in the divine land, the Celestial Spiritual sect. Not long ago, Elder Yen Changxing of the Life and Death sect had teamed up with He Daozhang of the Sky Cloud Sword to attack the distant Ice City. In the end, they were completely annihilated. After that, the sect leader of the Life and Death sect ordered the disciples of the Life and Death sect not to casually provoke the disciples of the Spiritual Immortal sect. Yen Dan had violated a great taboo of the sect. So it's the young hero of the Spiritual Immortal sect. I've offended you before, please forgive me. Just a second ago, Yen Dan had a look of defiance on his face. But now, he suddenly knelt on the ground. This action shocked the crowd. Hua Xiaozhen was so nervous that her body was trembling. She felt like she was in a dream these past few days. There was a continuous stream of Sacred Gate disciples kowtowing to her. These were all high and mighty members of the Sacred Gate, but now, they seemed to have turned into a group of wild dogs. Young Master Qiao, Hua Xiaozhen looked at Qin Feng pitifully. Without waiting for her to finish speaking, Qin Feng shouted at Yen Dan, "Don't apologize to me. You just offended my servant. I'll only spare your dog life if she forgives you." Yen Dan had been humiliated in front of everyone. He was incomparably furious. However, under the suppression of Qin Feng's powerful skills and the mysterious Spiritual Immortal sect, he no longer had a shred of arrogance. Eldest Miss, this lowly one was wrong. This lowly one was careless when walking. This lowly one apologizes to Eldest Mississippi. I hope that Eldest Miss can spare this lowly one's dog life. For the sake of survival, Yen Dan had completely put down his dignity. Hua Xiaozhen was dumbstruck. She really wanted to slap herself. This must be a dream. Otherwise, why would that Sacred Gate disciple beg her like a dog? You can stop kowtowing. Hua Xiaozhen was so frightened that she couldn't speak coherently. Qin Feng hugged her in his arms and stroked her jade-like back to comfort her. Then he looked at Yen Dan and said, "You can scram now. Once I'm done with my matters, I'll personally make a trip to the Life and Death Gate." Qin Feng actually wanted to kill Yen Dan and the others. He had long since formed a grudge with the Life and Death Gate. However, Qin Feng had always been rational. The Science and Technology Museum was very powerful, and he didn't know who the owner was. If he killed people in their territory, the owner definitely wouldn't sit by and watch. Yen Dan and the others felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. They ran out of the Science and Technology Museum as if they were fleeing for their lives. Violet Cloud Mountain's junior sister Ziyun was still in a daze. Not long ago, she thought that she had found a backer. In the end, they were so easily beaten away. Fights were common in Fire Beacon City. Soon, the crowd dispersed and continued to view the Science and Technology exhibition as if nothing had happened. Qin Feng had long since forgotten about Yen Dan and the others. However, Hua Xiaojun was still in a daze. Her frail body trembled uncontrollably in Qin Feng's arms. Ding! The Hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest: build a city of science and technology in the divine continent. Quest time limit: 1 year. If the quest is successfully completed, the system will reward you with 1 million Hedonist points and a lava flying armor. If the quest is failed, 2 million Hedonist points will be deducted and all products from Star Technology will be taken back. The system's notification suddenly sounded. A new quest had arrived. After carefully looking through the quest, Qin Feng's brows furrowed. It was extremely difficult to build a city of science and technology in the divine continent. This was a holy land for cultivation. The customs and development of society were still stuck in ancient China. Moreover, the people of the Holy Gate knew about the existence of society in the outside world. If he built a city of science and technology without restraint, it would easily attract the attention of the Holy Gates. At that time, Qin Feng's identity would quickly be exposed. Moreover, the punishment for this quest was inhumane. He had to take back all of Star Technology's products. Qin Feng was able to survive in the divine continent until now because of the Star Technology's battle armor. Young Master Qiao, what's wrong? Hua Xiaojun could see that Qin Feng had something on his mind. Qin Feng hurriedly cast aside his worries about the quest and patted Hua Xiaojun's head with a smile. Xiaojun, do you remember that I told you about my background? Hua Xiaojun's eyes lit up. She lowered her voice and said, I remember that young Master Qiao came from the outside world. Does this mean that everything in the Science and Technology Museum was transported from young Master Qiao's side? Qin Feng nodded. This is only a small portion of the technological products from the outside world. The large cabinet that you saw earlier that can freeze things is called a refrigerator over there. It's an invention that relies on the principle of refrigeration. It needs power, otherwise, it's useless. And that shiny thing is called an electric light. The lighting outside is all electric light, and it's as bright at night as it is in the day. Many big cities never sleep, and they're even more bustling and lively at night. And that huge screen is an LCD television. After plugging it in, it needs to be connected to the internet to watch it. There shouldn't be any internet here, so the television is just a decoration. That cell phone is the same. Without internet, it's impossible to make calls. Qin Feng introduced the items on display one by one. Hua Xiaojun's eyes saw stars as she listened. She couldn't wait to go to the city Qin Feng lived in right now and take a look. Young Master Qiao, what's that big metal block over there? Hua Xiaojun looked curiously at the 2 cars in the corner. That's a car. It can run after refueling. It's the same function as the horses over here. It's a means of transportation. However, cars are very fast, and normal horses can't catch up at all. Hua Xiaojun's small mouth gaped. That's amazing. Can that car outrun young Master Qiao's Fergana horse? Qin Feng's flaming dragon horse wasn't something a normal horse could compare to. He thought for a moment and said, What car? If my sports cars run at full speed, they can catch up to flaming dragon horse. Hua Xiaojun exclaimed once again. She'd ridden on flaming dragon horse before, so she knew the speed of that Fergana horse. Seeing her adorable appearance, Qin Feng couldn't help but pinch her charming cheeks a few times. Actually, a car isn't much. There's also an airplane outside. It's also a means of transportation and it can fly into the sky. This was the first time Qin Feng felt that high-tech products were so high-end. Any one of them could be used to show off in China. Hua Xiaozhen was completely dumbfounded. She knew that there were people in China who could fly, and they were all at the level of the Holy Gate's great elder or even sect leader. However, she didn't expect that there were people in the outside world who could fly. Hua Xiaozhen really wanted to fly. Xiaozhen, when there's a chance, Master will let you fly into the sky. You'll feel so good. Qin Feng saw Hua Xiaozhen's expectant expression and smiled as he rubbed her head. Hua Xiaozhen nodded her head forcefully, but her face suddenly turned red. Qin Feng's words were a little ambiguous, and Hua Xiaozhen's thoughts immediately went astray. After roughly looking around the Science and Technology Museum, a group of people walked out of the hall. These people weren't dressed in long robes like the people of China. They were all wearing well-ironed suits, and two of the women were wearing fashionable short skirts and polo shirts. It's Master Lei. It's about time. It looks like tonight's Science and Technology exhibition will officially start. I wonder what the finale of this year's Science and Technology exhibition will be. That airplane from last year was really fierce. Unfortunately, it was bought by the people from the Poison sect. As this group of fashionable people walked out, the crowd in the hall immediately burst into an uproar. More than half of the people in the hall were Holy Gate disciples. They had prominent positions, but they were very respectful toward Master Lei. They even seemed to be a little afraid of him. Master Lei walked at the very front. He was in his early 50s, but there were no true energy waves on his body. It seemed like he hadn't even stepped into the martial path. Young Master Qiao, that person seems very powerful. Hua Xiaozhen grabbed the corner of Qin Feng's shirt and hid behind him. Master Lei had already walked to the center of the crowd. With a microphone on his collar, he said, "Thank you, friends, for coming from afar to participate in this old man's Science and Technology exhibition. This year's exhibition is the same as the previous years. All the products on display can be auctioned. At the end, there's also a special product that will definitely make your trip worthwhile." Chapter 1402. After asking He Chun, Qin Feng found out that this hall Master Lei's name was Lei Wanzhong, and he suddenly appeared in Fire Beacon City 3 years ago. 3 years ago, he built this Science and Technology Museum in Fire Beacon City and held the first Science and Technology exhibition. Since then, Hall Master Lei became famous in the Divine Continent, and every year, the Science and Technology exhibition would attract a large number of Sacred Gate disciples to visit. Qin Feng was slightly puzzled. Lei Wanzhong's Science and Technology Museum only exhibited foreign products, so it was obvious that they were obtained from the Huaxia secular world. However, the Death Gate's formation only loosened once every 20 years, so how did Lei Wanzhong enter and exit the Divine Continent and the Huaxia secular world? If it wasn't a piece of technology from the secular world, could it be that it was a product of its own making? Alright, I won't waste any more time. I now announce the official start of the third Science and Technology exhibition. Everyone, feel free to look around. If there are any products that you like, you can find the staff of the Science and Technology Museum to purchase them. After Lei Wanzhong finished his opening speech, the entire hall was in an uproar. Many people already had their eyes on the products that they liked and went to bid for them. Hua Xiaozhen was frightened by the scene of everyone frantically fighting over the products. She tightly grabbed onto Qin Feng's clothes as if she was afraid of getting lost. "Brother, can you please introduce this big toy to me?" A large group of people gathered in front of the LCD TV. Most of these Sacred Gate disciples didn't know anything about science and technology, so they only wanted to buy the big ones. As for the small gadgets like the flashlight and the razor, very few people bought them. What effect could such small things have? The staff of the Science and Technology Museum started to introduce. Everyone really has a good eye. This 58-inch super large LCD TV is an incredible treasure. The man was interrupted just as he opened his mouth. "Wait, little brother, what do you think this is? What 58-inch chicken spirit?" This was the first time everyone heard of an LCD TV, so they were all confused. The sales assistant rolled her eyes, but she quickly smiled and said, "Hero, it's not a 58-inch chicken spirit, it's a 58-inch LCD TV. I don't know what chicken spirit or LCD TV is. Why don't you tell me what this big guy does? Can it fly to the sky?" The crowd was full of questions. In the previous science and technology exhibition, the Poison sect managed to bid for a plane that could allow several people to fly into the sky. That plane made everyone extremely envious. Even the sect masters of the various sacred sects were amazed in their hearts. This time, all the Sacred Gate disciples who came here wanted to get a plane back. Other than the few great elders and the sect leader, there were very few disciples in the divine great land who could fly with a flying sword. The shopping guide seemed to have come from the outside world. He was rendered speechless by these warriors of the divine land. This was just a TV. How could it go up to the sky? However, he maintained a professional smile on his face and patiently bluffed, "Everyone, don't be impatient. This 58-inch LCD TV can't fly, but its functions are incredible. It's even more powerful than flying. There are 300 sets of martial arts manuals in there, and all of them are video tutorials. Whoever gets their hands on this will definitely become a martial saint after a year of hard work." This shop assistant had no true chi in his body, so he was just an ant on the path of martial arts. However, his glib tongue was really amazing, and he immediately fooled a group of Sacred Gate experts. The crowd was instantly in an uproar. There were 300 sets of martial arts manuals in this big guy? Brother Lei Shan, don't talk nonsense. How can there be 300 sets of martial arts manuals? I'm afraid there are less than 300 sacred gates in the divine land. Someone raised his doubts. The shop assistant's name was written on the chest plate of his suit. It was Lei Shan. Why would I lie to everyone? Dojo Master Lei's Science and Technology Museum has been open for 3 years. When has there ever been a problem with its credibility? If everyone doesn't believe me, I can show you. Lei Shan said as he turned on the TV. The group of Sacred Gate disciples stared at the LCD screen without blinking, afraid that they would miss something. Hua Xiaojun was also attracted, but she had a face full of doubt. "Young Master Qiao, didn't you say that the TV can't be used here?" Qin Feng was puzzled. There was no internet or wireless in the divine land, so how could it play a TV? However, he quickly guessed that this LCD TV had probably downloaded many videos and could play them as long as the electricity was turned on. However, he couldn't figure out another thing. Wasn't this just a lousy TV? How could there be 300 sets of martial arts manuals in it? Soon, the scene and sound came from the TV, scaring the group of Sacred Gate disciples into taking a few steps back. Who is it? What are they doing hiding in there? Brother Lei Shan, what's going on? Are there 2 groups of people fighting inside? Young Master Qiao, I'm a little scared. The people of the divine land had never seen a TV before. They were shocked by this technological product. Qin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The TV was showing Zhou Xingxing's comedy kung fu masterpiece. At this time, it was showing the battle between Zhou Xingxing and the fire cloud heretic god. Zhou Xingxing soared into the sky and a Buddha's palm descended from the sky. The group of Sacred Gate disciples was dumbstruck. Damn! That little brother is too powerful. What realm is he in? He stepped into the 8th stage of true Qi at such a young age. The power of that palm could probably eliminate a row of 6th stage true Qi experts. Why didn't the aura of those experts come out? It feels like they are right in front of us, but they can't be touched. I know, they must have set up a barrier formation. Those 2 are really powerful experts. The crowd surrounding the 58-inch LCD TV grew. Everyone's expression was grave. They stood more than 10 meters away from the TV with vigilant expressions, as if the TV was full of danger. Qin Feng was about to cry from laughing, but he saw Lei Shan suddenly change the video. This time, it was the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. In the next 10 minutes, Lei Shan changed the video every 2 minutes. Every video was an exciting fight scene, from Kung Fu to the Heaven Sword and then to the smiling proud wanderer, demigods and semi-devils, wind and cloud dominating the world. The crowd was dumbstruck. Many people were so scared that they broke out in cold sweat. Lei Shan turned off the TV just as the show was about to start. The picture and sound suddenly disappeared. Brother Lei Shan, why is it gone? Oh my God, those were all experts above the 6th stage of true Qi. There are 20 to 30 experts in total. Where did they come from? Why haven't I seen any of them in the divine land? This big guy is amazing. It's really a treasure. The crowd started to discuss again. Lei Shan held back his laughter and said seriously, "Heroes, you've all seen this 58-inch LCD TV. I've said that there are 300 secret techniques inside, and they're all taught on the spot. Just now, I only played 20 or so secret techniques. Now, we can start the auction. The starting price is 1,000 high-grade spirit stones." As soon as Lei Shan's voice fell, the crowd erupted. The Sacred Gate disciples fought to bid for the LCD TV. This was a treasure that hid 300 secret techniques. It was an unimaginable existence. Qin Feng's eyes almost popped out. He finally understood Lei Shan's trick. This kind of retarded scam could only fool the Sacred Gate disciples in the Divine Land. If it was used in the Huaxia secular world, Lei Shan would be sent to the mental hospital in minutes. "Young Master Qiao, that thing is so powerful. Don't you want it?" Hua Xiaozhen was deeply attracted by the LCD TV. She knew Qin Feng was also a cultivator, so he definitely needed powerful secret techniques. "That guy is lying. Just ignore them." Qin Feng patted Hua Xiaozhen's head. Realization dawned on Hua Xiaozhen. If Qin Feng said it was a lie, then she believed it 100%. However, the crowd in the Divine Land believed it. In just 3 minutes, the starting price of 1,000 high-grade spirit stones had risen to 10,000 high-grade spirit stones. Qin Feng realized that the Sacred Gate disciples in the Divine Land were all nouveau riches. They had a frightening amount of spirit stones. When he was in the Huaxia secular world, he had deliberately collected spirit stones to forge the cosmic flying sword. However, he only managed to collect a little over 1,000 spirit stones, and most of them were medium and low-grade spirit stones. After walking around, Qin Feng realized that not only was the LCD TV being auctioned off fiercely, the other big items were also being fought over by the crowd. Moreover, these Holy Gate disciples did not only use spirit stones to bid for the items, some even used spirit weapons, spirit pills, and even secret manuals to exchange for the items. With this kind of auction, the owner of the Science and Technology Museum would earn a fortune in one day. Involuntarily, Qin Feng recalled the mission of building a science and technology city issued by the system. He began to feel restless. If he could build the first science and technology city in the Divine Land, he would not have to worry about cultivation resources anymore. The LCD TV had already been auctioned off to a Xing Shan Grand Elder with 50,000 high-grade spirit stones and 2 blue-grade spiritual swords. At this point, the other Sacred Gate disciples who failed in the auction side. The Xing Shan Grand Elder hugged the 58-inch LCD TV and roared into the sky. He looked as if he had obtained a treasure. Qin Feng was amused. A lousy TV was sold for 50,000 high-grade spirit stones and 2 blue-grade spiritual swords. He wondered if the Xing Shan Grand Elder would die of anger when he found out about this. However, the Science and Technology exhibition was still going on. The Sacred Gate disciples who came from various cities were extremely excited. They were as excited as aunties who went to a gold shop to buy gold bars. "Master, are you not interested in anything?" Hua Xiaozhen asked when she saw that Qin Feng did not move. "This room is full of trash. I have a lot of them in the outside world. You want me to exchange spirit stones and cultivation resources for these lousy things, unless I'm crazy." Qin Feng's words made Hua Xiaozhen stick out her tongue. She felt that young Master Qiao was not an ordinary person. More than half of the people in the auction were Sacred Gate disciples, but young Master Qiao said that they were all crazy. The most people gathered in the corner of the hall. There were 2 cars parked there. After Lei Shan sold the 58-inch LCD TV, he went to promote the 2 cars and fooled the Sacred Gate disciples. "Little brother Lei Shan, what are these 2 big guys?" Chapter 1403. Heroes. These two items are incredible. They are called super flying war cars. Qin Feng spurted out his saliva as soon as he heard the name. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. However, he saw that the group of Holy Gate disciples had serious expressions. Their eyes flickered as they stared at the two cars. In reality, these Holy Gate disciples were not stupid. It was just that they had never been to the outside world and had never seen the items displayed in the Science and Technology Museum. As for the disciples that came out of seclusion to Huaxian not long ago, they wouldn't come to visit the Science and Technology Museum. They had already been to Huaxia's secular world, so they didn't have the time to waste here. And this Science and Technology Museum of Fire Beacon City was also smart. There were internal personnel guarding the entrance and only allowed people who had never been to the outside world. As for the disciples that came out of seclusion, they were not allowed in at all. The excuse was that the Science and Technology Museum was too small and was only open to people who had never seen technology before. Lei Shan was still vigorously bragging about the two cars on the stage while the crowd kept asking questions. Brother Lei Shan, we don't understand what you're saying. Just get to the point. What are the uses of these two big guys? A few disciples couldn't hold it anymore. Lei Shan purposely paused for a moment to whet the crowd's appetite. Heroes, don't be anxious. Since they are products of our Science and Technology Museum, then they are all super practical treasures. These two super flying war cars are incredible. They are transportation tools. As soon as he finished speaking, many people started to complain. What? So they are two transportation tools. What do we need them for? We can just ride horses instead of transportation? Transportation tools clearly couldn't attract these Holy Gate disciples, but Lei Shan wasn't anxious. He unhurriedly said, Heroes, if they were normal transportation tools, why would our master Lei bring them out? Isn't that cheating people? These two super flying war cars are very powerful. Normal horses can't keep up with their speed. Let me put it this way. When these two super flying war cars move at full speed, their speed is comparable to that of a rank 6 true Qi expert. Moreover, as long as there is enough energy, the cars can maintain this speed. The complaints stopped and were replaced by exclamations. The speed of a rank 6 true Qi expert wasn't slow. Normal horses that could run at rank 2 true Qi were already incredible. Most importantly, if those disciples below the 6th layer of true Qi possessed a car, if they encountered an enemy at the 6th layer of true Qi, they could absolutely use the car to escape. This was a life-saving treasure. Quite a few people became excited, and they seemed determined to win the super flying war chariot. Qin Feng had some doubts in his heart. This car had to be powered by gasoline, and Qin Feng was sure that these two cars didn't run on electricity. They both ran on gasoline. However, where could he find gasoline in the divine Great Land? If he bought this car, it would become a pile of scrap metal. Just as he was feeling puzzled, he heard someone ask this question. Brother Lei Shan, what's the energy supply for this super speedy chariot? Lei Shan said, You don't have to worry about the energy. These two super flying chariots are powered by gasoline in the outside world, but they have been modified by our great master Lei. Now, their energy system is spiritual energy. As long as you put in a top-grade spirit stone, it will be enough for them to run day and night for a month. Everyone relaxed. They didn't have to worry about the energy problem. However, Qin Feng was astonished. These two cars could be powered by spirit stones? He quickly looked at the electric lights on the ceiling of the house. He didn't pay attention to these problems before. The house was brightly lit, so what were those light bulbs using to generate electricity? Qin Feng didn't believe that the divine Great Land still had a generator and power generation system. Lei Shan's voice sounded in his ear. The auction for the two super speedy chariots had already begun. The starting price was 1,000 top-grade spirit stones. The crowd was boiling, and they fought to be the first to bid for the cars. Qin Feng ignored these idiots and pulled Hua Xiaozhen to a corner where there was no one else. The items on display were all small items such as razors, table lamps, flashlights, lighters, and the like. These items wouldn't be able to attract the attention of the Holy Gate's disciples. They could easily start a fire with a fireball. Young hero, do you have any items that you like? A beautiful shopping guide wearing a short skirt and fashionable clothing came up to them. Hua Xiaozhen stared at the shopping guide's long legs a few times and felt embarrassed for her. She thought that this woman was definitely not a decent person. How could she run out without even wearing pants? If Qin Feng knew what Hua Xiaozhen was thinking at this moment, he would definitely be amused. He glanced at the display rack and randomly picked up an item. "What is this?" Qin Feng asked. He really hadn't seen the item in his hand before. The shopping guide's charming face was slightly red, but she quickly said, "Young hero, this is a breast enhancement product from the outside world. You can buy it for your wife to use." The shopping guide mistakenly thought that Hua Xiaozhen was Qin Feng's wife. Qin Feng was stunned. He didn't expect that he would pick a breast enhancement product. Hua Xiaozhen's face was already flushed red. She thought that the outside world was too strange. How could there be people producing such a shameless product? Qin Feng didn't care about this. The reason why he came here to choose items was to figure out how the Science and Technology Museum's electricity was supplied. "Very good, I really like this item." Qin Feng nodded and said. Hua Xiaozhen almost ran away in fright. She hurriedly pulled on the corner of Qin Feng's clothes and whispered in his ear, "Young Master Qiao, why did you buy this?" Qin Feng casually said, "Of course it's for you. Why else would I use it?" Hua Xiaozhen didn't expect young Master Qiao to be so open and say such things in public. She lowered her head and didn't dare to look at the shopping guide. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito. "Young Master Qiao, I'm big enough there." Qin Feng almost burst out laughing. He couldn't help but glance at Hua Xiaozhen's collar. This action was discovered by Hua Xiaozhen, and she was so embarrassed that her little face was about to drip water. What woman doesn't like that part of her is big? Isn't it better if it's bigger? Qin Feng looked at the shopping guide and continued, "How much is this thing? These items aren't expensive. You can give me 100 high-grade spirit stones." Qin Feng secretly cursed the Science and Technology Museum for being black-hearted. A lousy breast enhancement device dared to ask for 100 high-grade spirit stones? However, he quickly smiled and said, "It's indeed very cheap. Then teach me how to use it." The shopping guide was also very shrewd. She smiled and said, "I'm sorry, young hero. Master Lei has a rule that we will only tell you how to use it after you pay first." Qin Feng originally wanted to get something for nothing. After he figured out how the Science and Technology Museum worked, he would say that he didn't want to buy it. He didn't expect that he wouldn't be able to trick her. Qin Feng had no choice but to reluctantly take out 100 high-grade spirit stones. This was all the savings he had in the Emerald Spirit Ring. Originally, he planned to keep it to forge the Golden Rock Celestial Venerable Armor. Now, he had to think of a way to get more spirit stones and other materials. After paying the spirit stones, the shopping guide started to teach Qin Feng how to use it. Qin Feng naturally knew how to use these gadgets, but he pretended that it was his first time and listened patiently. "That's right, how does this thing work? Does it need energy to support it? It won't break after using it, right?" Qin Feng asked and got to the point. "Young hero, don't worry. The quality of these technological products is very good. They're all branded products from the outside world. If you follow my instructions, it won't be a problem for you to use it for 5 to 8 years. As for the energy supply, you don't have to worry about it. All the technological products in our Science and Technology Museum rely on spiritual energy as their energy supply. For this gadget you bought, 1 low-grade spirit stone is enough to last a lifetime." Qin Feng was surprised. This breast enhancement device wasn't plugged in with batteries, nor was it charged. It was actually powered by spiritual energy? He secretly channeled his true qi into it and realized that the 2 massagers were really working. Hua Xiaozhen screamed in shock. She couldn't help but think of the scene when the 2 massagers were pressed against her chest. "Xiaozhen, are you okay?" Qin Feng looked at her worriedly. Hua Xiaozhen's neck turned red. She didn't know why Qin Feng insisted on buying this. Was it really because she was too small? And young Master Qiao didn't push her down. Was it because she was too small? But Hua Xiaozhen truly felt that she wasn't small anymore. "I'm fine," Hua Xiaozhen said shyly. Qin Feng also couldn't understand Hua Xiaozhen's thoughts. At this time, his thoughts were on the problem of the Science and Technology Museum's energy supply. He pulled Hua Xiaozhen to a corner where there was no one. Qin Feng disassembled the breast enhancement device and studied it. He quickly discovered something strange. This machine's interior had clearly been modified. The wiring was removed and connected with a strange little device. Qin Feng placed a low-grade spirit stone inside. He discovered that the spiritual energy in the spirit stone automatically entered the little device and started the machine. Xiang Master Qiao, Hua Xiaozhen didn't know what to say when she saw Qin Feng loving the breast enhancement device so much. Qin Feng came back to his senses. He realized that the Science and Technology Museum's Master Lei wasn't a simple person. Not only could he bring technological products from the outside world into China, but he also changed the energy of these products into spiritual energy. Xiaozhen, keep this thing. Massage it when you're free. Qin Feng casually threw the breast enhancement device to Hua Xiaozhen. He didn't really want to buy this thing. But since he had already bought it, it was just right for Hua Xiaozhen to use. Hua Xiaozhen's hand holding the device was trembling. She clearly misunderstood Qin Feng. She thought that young Master Qiao really disliked her because she was too small. The auction in the Science and Technology Museum was still going on. Qin Feng and Hua Xiaozhen were both in a daze. Hua Xiaozhen felt a little sad. She glanced at her chest from time to time. Qin Feng was thinking about the Science and Technology Museum when Little Pig's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Master, a system has been detected nearby. Qin Feng suddenly became nervous. His eyes quickly swept across the crowd. He had encountered 4 system owners in the Huaxia secular world. He had subdued Shui Air's Supreme Superstar System and Dragon God's Supreme Peace System, and he had devoured Huaxiao's Supreme Mecha System. Ling Jiutian also had a system, but Qin Feng couldn't see through his system. Chapter 1404. Qin Feng hadn't been in China for long. He had concealed his identity and was wanted by all the sacred sects. It was difficult for him to move forward. He didn't expect to meet the owner of the system at a time like this. Actually, Qin Feng would rather meet a true Qi Stage 8 or even Stage 9 powerhouses than fight the owner of the system. He also had a system and knew how powerful it was. Can you find out the location of the owner of the system and what system he has? Qin Feng asked hurriedly. Little Pig said, No, Master. The owner of the system has the same system level as Master. You can only sense each other's existence, but you can't know who the other is or what system he has. Qin Feng had obtained the Hedonist sovereign system for almost 2 years. During this time, he had been working hard to complete missions and had risen to the level of a rank 7 Hedonist mortal. Just like that, he went from a powerless Hedonist young master to the number 1 person in China's secular world. It was obvious that the owner of the system was very powerful. At the same time, Qin Feng thought of something else. When he was attacking Huaxiao, the owner of the Paragon Mecha system, in the Nigerian region of South Africa, Ling Jiutian had appeared halfway. He could sense Qin Feng's system, but Qin Feng could not sense his own system. From the looks of it, Ling Jiutian's system level was probably even higher than Qin Feng's. Qin Feng thought of the battle with the Spirit Beast sect in Devil Beast Mountain. Qin Feng defeated Ling Jiutian, but Ling Jiutian's system level was higher than his. How could he lose? Could it be that he didn't use his trump card? Or did he lose to him on purpose? One question after another appeared in Qin Feng's mind. He couldn't figure it out for a while, but he realized that he had fallen into a big picture. It seemed that this trip to China was set up by someone. Master, according to the system's location, I can only confirm that the owner of the system is within a 1-kilometer radius. Little Pig's voice sounded again. Qin Feng shook his head. A 1-kilometer radius was too big. There were thousands of people gathered in the Science and Technology Museum. How could it be easy to find out who the owner of the system was? No, Master Lei is very suspicious. Qin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Little Pig said, I also have my suspicions, Master Lei. The energy supply of this Science and Technology Museum is very strange. To be able to transform the technological products of the Chinese secular world to use spiritual energy as an energy source, this is not something that ordinary people can do. Qin Fan finally had a rough idea of where to go. He was already looking for Lei Wanzhong in the crowd. That guy was walking back and forth in the hall, introducing the effects of different technological products from time to time. After some observation, Qin Feng realized that Lei Wanzhong had never cultivated before. Was this guy really the owner of a system? As time ticked by, Qin Feng's brows furrowed even tighter. Suddenly, Hua Xiaozhen's voice, as soft as a mosquito, reached his ears. "Young Master Qiao, can you accompany me to the restroom?" Qin Fan froze for a moment before coming back to his senses. "Are you in a hurry to pee?" Hua Xiaozhen's face turned red. She didn't know what was going on. No, I. Seeing that she was bashful and couldn't say anything, Qin Feng simply pulled her to the restroom. When they got there, Qin Feng discovered that the restrooms in the Science and Technology Museum were built in the style of the outside world. Hua Xiaozhen was dumbfounded. "Young Master Qiao, where is this place? How do I use this place?" Qin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After confirming that there was no one in the ladies' restroom, he pulled Hua Xiaozhen into a stall. "Go to the restroom. I'll guard the door and won't peek." The stall in the restroom was relatively empty. Qin Feng stood at the door with his back facing Hua Xiaozhen. Hua Xiaozhen wasn't there to use the restroom. She just stared dumbly at the toilet bowl, feeling a bit confused. "Young Master Qiao, this lowly servant doesn't want to use the restroom. Sit on the chair first." When Qin Feng heard Hua Xiaozhen say the toilet bowl was a chair, he almost laughed out loud. "Xiaozhen, what are you doing here instead of using the restroom?" Hua Xiaozhen held the breast enhancement device in her hand. She fidgeted for a while before mustering the courage to say, "I don't know how to use it. Young Master Qiao, please teach me." When Hua Xiaozhen was in a daze, she kept thinking about the size of her breasts. In the end, she made up her mind to enhance her breasts. Since young Master Qiao liked big ones, she had to satisfy his preferences. Just as she finished speaking, he saw that Hua Xiaozhen had already started to take off her clothes. When Qin Feng came back to his senses, this girl's top was already off. Qin Feng's eyes widened. Hua Xiaozhen's figure was indescribably good. Hua Xiaozhen lowered her head shyly. Her hand holding the machine trembled. "Young Master Qiao, how do I use it?" Qin Feng really wanted to cry from laughing. He bought the breast enhancement device to study the energy problem. He didn't think that Hua Xiaozhen would take it seriously. However, looking at her perfect figure, Qin Feng couldn't control himself. He walked over and turned on the power button. The sound of the machine came. Qin Feng hadn't heard this kind of sound in China for a long time. He felt a bit embarrassed, but he pretended nothing had happened and held the machine up. "Young Master Qiao, is this thing so strange?" Hua Xiaozhen suddenly yelled. She was so scared that she sat on the toilet bowl. Qin Feng handed the machine to her and said, "Just massage it like I did earlier." Hua Xiaozhen held the machine dumbly and did as Qin Feng said. Qin Feng stood to the side and watched until he was about to go crazy. However, he endured it. He really didn't want to bully this silly girl. After 10 minutes, Hua Xiaozhen was already playing with the massager. She even smiled at Qin Feng with a proud expression. "Young Master Qiao, is this correct?" Qin Feng couldn't help but glance at her. "Yes. Put on your clothes first. You can massage before you sleep." Hua Xiaozhen obediently turned off the massager and put on her clothes in front of Qin Feng. She didn't mind being seen naked. She had long since decided that she was Qin Feng's woman. Moreover, she would only be Qin Feng's personal servant for the rest of her life. When the two of them walked out of the restroom, the Science and Technology Museum's lobby was even more lively than before. Everyone surrounded the round stage. It seemed like they were about to start bidding for the finale product of this year's Science and Technology exhibition. Lei Wanzhong stood on the stage and spoke into the microphone. "Dear friends, the products of this year's Science and Technology exhibition have been auctioned off. Next, we'll auction the treasure of the Science and Technology Museum. I can guarantee that the treasure this time isn't inferior to the plane that the poison sect elder won last year. It might even be more amazing. Once he said this, the audience below the stage erupted in cheers. Qin Feng had already pulled Hua Xiaojun into the crowd. He was also quite excited to see what Lei Wanzhong's so-called final product was. Lei Wanzhong clapped his hands. A few of his subordinates had already pushed out a small display cart. The display cart was covered with a black cloth, so no one could see what was inside. Master Lei, what exactly is this? Why did you push out a display cart? Could it be that it's not a treasure? I can already feel that the item under the black cloth is very amazing. I'm so excited right now. The crowd was in an uproar. Lei Wanzhong's face was full of smiles when he saw the fiery atmosphere. He walked to the side of the display cart and suddenly pulled the black cloth away. The crowd instantly cried out in surprise. Actually, they didn't understand what was on the display cart. They just felt that this was the time to scream. Young Master Qiao, what's on the display cart? Hua Xiaojun also cried out in surprise. Qin Feng's expression became slightly serious. It's a firearm from the outside world. Ah? Firearm? What's that? Hua Xiaojun clearly didn't understand. Qin Feng didn't say anything more. He looked at the display cart that was filled with firearms and ammunition. There were even bombs and small cannons. Master Lei, what exactly is this? What's its use? The crowd couldn't bear it anymore. Lei Wanzhong didn't explain. He chuckled as he picked up a submachine gun, loaded it, and fired at the roof. Ta-da! Dozens of bullets were emptied in a few seconds. A few chandeliers on the ceiling shattered and fell, leaving behind many bullet holes. The originally noisy hall suddenly quieted down. The crowd of Holy Gate disciples was dumbstruck. What kind of weapon was this? Wasn't it a bit too fierce? Friends, these are all firearms from the outside world. They are very powerful. Martial artists below the 4th stage of true Qi can very well withstand the attacks of these weapons. Lei Wanzhong's words shocked everyone. Although martial artists at the 4th stage of true Qi were as numerous as dogs in the divine continent, they still needed to cultivate bitterly to step into the 4th stage. Now, a random firearm could kill a powerful martial artist at the 4th stage of true Qi? This was too nonsensical. Master Lei, the weapon you used just now was indeed fierce, but you're underestimating a martial artist at the 4th stage of true Qi. I'm an ordinary disciple of the northern clan, Feng Jing, and I'm at the 4th stage of true Qi. I'm confident that I can block the attack of the weapon in your hand. A young and frivolous disciple jumped out, but Lei Wanzhong didn't get angry. He chuckled and said, "This little brother is right. This is a submachine gun in my hand. It's indeed difficult to kill a true Qi realm martial artist with just this weapon. However, the next few guns are incredible. This is a new type of laser gun. Its firing speed is fast and powerful. Let me show it to everyone first." Lei Wanzhong grabbed a dazzling laser gun and fired a shot at the roof. A red ray of light shot out, instantly piercing a hole in the roof. Rumble! A lot of rubble and tiles fell down. The commotion caused by the shot was so huge that many Holy Gate disciples cried out in fear. This attack is comparable to the attack of a martial artist at the 5th stage of true Qi, right? That ray of light is so fast. If you're not careful, you won't be able to dodge it. This weapon is amazing. How many spirit stones are you selling it for? Bullet-type firearms couldn't attract these Holy Gate disciples, but laser guns were still very powerful. Chapter 1405. Hua Xiaojun had long been scared silly by the power of the laser gun. She thought that if an enemy used this gun against young Master Qiao, would he be able to survive? "Qiao, young Master Qiao, let's go." Hua Xiaojun didn't want to stay here anymore. She was afraid that something would happen to Qin Feng. Qin Feng naturally wouldn't leave now. He hugged Hua Xiaojun in his arms and comforted her. The power of the laser gun completely aroused everyone's interest. Seeing that there were so many strange things on the small exhibition cart, the group of Sacred Gate disciples could no longer remain calm. "Dojo Master Lei, what's that fist-sized thing?" Lei Wanzhong had a faint smile on his face. This is a grenade from the outside world. Don't be fooled by its small size, its power is not small at all. Everyone make way, I'll show you guys. Even Dojo Master Lei couldn't say anything. It must be something very powerful. The crowd immediately made way for a golden path. They even put on a vigilant expression, as if they were facing a great enemy. Lei Wanzhong picked up the grenade and threw it out the door. Just when everyone was wondering why there was no movement, a loud explosion suddenly sounded. The two large metal doors fell to the ground, causing the hall to shake violently. Isn't this little guy's power too fierce? This is the attack of a true Qi Stage 6 expert. It's indeed powerful, but it also has a fatal flaw. This thing's attack time is a bit slow. By the time it attacks, the enemy will have already disappeared. Dojo Master Lei, what other treasures do you have? Please show them to everyone. The crowd in the hall became more and more excited. They realized that this year's hidden treasures were indeed amazing. Lei Wanzhong displayed the firearms from the outside world. Most of them were ammunition firearms, but there were also a few laser weapons that were about the same level as the laser gun. When the cannonball fired from the small cannon blew up in empty space 100 meters away, the group of Sacred Gate disciples were truly stunned. The ammunition, firearms, and even laser guns in front of them were all good. Although they were powerful, they were unable to threaten the lives of these true Qi realm experts. Even if they couldn't beat them, it was still easy for them to escape. However, the power of these cannonball firearms was too great. The explosion instantly spread to a radius of 10 meters. If they didn't dodge in time, they would definitely be injured by the aftershock of the airflow. After the display, Lei Wanzhong chuckled and said, "Ha! Heroes, now that you've seen these treasures, let's start the auction. We'll start with these submachine guns in the ammunition category." Many people were still in a daze, but there was also a group of people who had already started bidding in full swing. The starting price of the submachine gun was 500 spirit stones and 500 bullets. Qin Feng specially observed these ammunition-type firearms and found that they had not been modified. Hallmaster Lei, I offer 1,000 upper spiritual stones, 1,200 spiritual stones and a grade 4 spirit pill. Soul Saber's Chen Sui, do you want to fight with me? Do you think the Northern Clan is afraid of you? The Feng Xen will fight you to the death. 1,500 spiritual stones and an orange grade spiritual weapon. The auction was abnormally intense, and in the end, it became an irrational battle. A submachine gun was nothing in Qin Feng's eyes. Even in the eyes of the Holy Gate's disciples in China, the starting price of 500 high-grade spiritual stones was considered very high. In the end, the final price was 2,000 high-grade spiritual stones and 2 orange-grade spiritual weapons. Naturally, Qin Feng wouldn't feel any heartache for those bidders. On the other hand, Lei Wanzhong was so happy that he couldn't stop smiling. The first treasure has successfully fallen into the hands of Soul Saber's disciple, Chen Sui. I have to kindly remind everyone that there are only so many technological products in this year's auction. If one is sold, there will be one less. Everyone, please seize the opportunity to bid for the grenade. Lei Wanzhong's words made the already irrational crowd even more crazy. There were a total of 30 grenades, and they were auctioned off at one go. The starting price was 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones. However, even with such a high price, more than a dozen people bid at the same time. 6,000 high-grade spiritual stones, 6,500 high-grade spiritual stones and a flaming fist martial skill book. 7,500 high-grade spiritual stones and 2 grade 4 spirit pills and a blue grade spiritual weapon. 12500 high-grade spiritual stones, a low-grade cultivation method, a black grade martial skill book, 3 blazing fire crystals. The auction price was about to break through the sky. The members of the Science and Technology Museum were all smiles. They planned to get a year's worth of cultivation resources in one day. Grenades were more practical, especially when experts were fighting. It was cool to have a few grenades on one's body and throw one when the enemy was not paying attention. It was the best weapon to show off and pick up girls. Qin Feng didn't care how high the price of the grenade was because he wasn't the one paying for it. However, his eyes lit up when he heard about the blazing fire crystal. It was one of the main materials to forge the golden rock celestial venerate armor. Qin Feng had unlocked the second immortal equipment in the out-of-print interface, the golden rock celestial venerate armor. The system had also issued a mission to forge the immortal armor. When he met his father, Gu Chen, at Devil Beast Mountain, he obtained the wings of the golden rock. Now, he still lacked the last two materials to forge the immortal armor. One was the golden rock, and the other was the blazing fire crystal. The one who bid for 12,500 high-grade spiritual stones and blazing fire crystal was Fang Yan, a young elder from Xingshan. One had to admit that Xingshan's disciples were really rich. The 58-inch LCD TV was bought by one of them. Now that Elder Fang Yan's price had reached a new high, no one else made a bid for a long time. Everyone, Elder Fang Yan from Xingshan has bid 12,500 high-grade spiritual stones and a lot of cultivation resources. Is there anyone who is willing to bid higher than Elder Fang Yan? When the auction for the grenades ends, there will be no more of them. Lei Wanzhong wanted to continue bluffing others. However, faced with such a high price, even if they were unwilling, they couldn't take out more spiritual stones and resources. Fang Yan shouted impatiently, "Hall Master Lei, there won't be anyone else who will bid higher than me. Hurry up and make the deal." Lei Wanzhong saw that it was about time and was about to make the final decision. However, a voice came from the crowd. "Wait, Elder Fang. Are you sure you want to spend 12,500 high-grade spiritual stones and 3 blazing fire crystals to buy that pile of trash?" Everyone was stunned and looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. That was 30 grenades, and each of them was extremely powerful. How could this guy say that it was trash? Even if it was trash, you can't say it in front of everyone. Isn't this a slap to Hall Master Lei's face? Hua Xiaozhen was so scared that she almost knelt down when countless pairs of eyes stared at her. She couldn't understand it and even suspected that young Master Qiao had lost his mind. "Brat, what are you talking about? How dare you cause trouble in the Science and Technology Museum? Do you believe that we will chase you out?" Several members of the Science and Technology Museum threatened Qin Feng with cold faces. Hall Master Lei waved his hand and laughed. Everyone, please don't make a fuss. This is not the first day my Science and Technology Museum has been established. It has been around for 3 years and has never cheated anyone. No one has ever complained about being cheated. Young hero, I'm afraid that you don't understand the advanced technology here. So, please don't spout nonsense. Otherwise, I won't give you any face. Lei Wanzhong looked amiable, but a murderous look flashed across his eyes. Qin Feng pretended not to see it and ignored him. He said to Elder Fang Yan of Xingshan, "Elder Fang, instead of spending 12,500 high-grade spiritual stones and 3 blazing fire crystals to buy that pile of trash, why don't you buy one of my products? It's more powerful than that grenade, and it's cheaper as well. I can sell you 50 of them." The crowd was stunned. They couldn't understand what Qin Feng was trying to do. Fang Yan looked at Qin Feng cautiously and said, "You have a grenade too? Why are you selling it to me at such a low price? Are you trying to scam me?" The products in the Science and Technology Museum were guaranteed. If there were any problems, they could come to the Science and Technology Museum. However, Qin Feng had no reputation, so no one was optimistic about him. "Stinking brat, I think you're here to cause trouble. Men, arrest him," a member of the Science and Technology Museum roared. Suddenly, more than 20 people rushed in from both inside and outside. These guards were all True Qi Realm experts. The strongest had stepped into True Qi Realm Stage 5. Hua Xiaozhen was instantly surrounded by more than 20 people. She trembled in fear, but Qin Feng did not care about them at all. Before he even made a move, Lei Wanzhong's voice rang out, "Young hero, may I know which sect you are from?" Qin Feng said in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing, "Headmaster Lei, I'm Qiao Feng, an ordinary disciple of the Spiritual Immortal City's Spiritual Immortal Sect. I was ordered by sect leader Qiao Gong to visit the Science and Technology Museum. How did I offend Headmaster Lei? Are you really going to treat me like this? If the spiritual immortal sect finds out about this, I'm afraid it'll lead to a battle. Before the science and technology exhibition officially started, Qin Feng had chased away Yen Dan and the other 3 from the life and death sect. His name was known by some people. However, there were many people who had only just heard of Qin Feng's name. For a moment, the crowd was in an uproar. That guy is from the spiritual immortal sect? The spiritual immortal sect that rose overnight? Which sect was the predecessor of this spiritual immortal sect? It feels so mysterious. Everyone, don't talk about him. Not long ago, that young hero chased away the people from the life and death sect. He even said that he was going to wipe out the life and death sect. I think this spiritual immortal sect is definitely not to be trifled with. Otherwise, how could they have taken down 2 cities in one go? Lei Wanzhong's expression suddenly became serious. He didn't expect Qin Feng to be from the spiritual immortal sect. Lei Wanzhong was unable to find out anything about the mysterious spirit's immortal sect that had risen overnight. He had originally wanted to break Qin Feng's leg and toss him out, but now it seemed like he really could not act rashly. So it's a young hero from the spiritual immortal sect. My Science and Technology Museum naturally welcomes you to visit. Lei Wanzhong suddenly laughed. However, halfway through his words, he changed the topic. However, the Science and Technology Museum has never been afraid of the various sacred sects of the divine continent. None of the sacred sect disciples that come to visit me cause trouble. Otherwise, I won't let them off easily. Chapter 1406. After finding out that Qin Feng was a disciple of the spiritual celestial sect, the people in the hall who had been clamoring earlier stopped talking and waited for Lei Wanzhong's instructions. I organized this science and technology exhibition to allow everyone to exchange technological products from the outside world. I didn't expect young hero Qiao to have a technological product too. Then take it out and show everyone, Lei Wanzhong said with a smile. Qin Feng didn't waste any more time with Lei Wanzhong. He waved his hand, and a grenade suddenly appeared in his hand as if he was performing a magic trick. The crowd gasped as their gazes fell on Qin Feng's hand. The grenade in his hand was clearly cooler than the grenade in the Science and Technology Museum. It was obviously a high-end product. Young hero Qiao, is this also a grenade? Elder Fang Yan from Xingshan couldn't help but ask. Qin Feng ignored Lei Wanzhong's shocked and angry expression and looked at Fang Yan. Elder Fang, this isn't an ordinary grenade. This is a super grenade. The crowd was in an uproar, and Fang Yan's eyes were wide open. It had to be said that naming was very important. Now that a super grenade had appeared, the grenade in the Science and Technology Museum immediately felt inferior. Holy crap! Super grenade? That must be very powerful. Young hero Qiao, hurry up and show everyone the power of a super grenade. Many people anxiously urged. Lei Wanzhong stood to the side with a cold expression, but he didn't step out to stop Qin Feng. Qin Feng had just spent 300 hedonist points to buy this super grenade from the Star Technology interface. There were expensive and cheap items on the Star Technology interface. Super grenades, super pistols, super laser guns, and other similar items were not expensive because they were much weaker than the fire cloud cannons, wind and cloud mad demon cannons, and even the Black Dragon series of battle equipment. Qin Feng still remembered that Zhou Kai, Hao Yun, and Sima Tu had set up a Hongmen banquet in the Amethyst Dragon Palace in Acropolis City. At that time, he had killed Uncle Feng, and Zhang Biao had taken the blame for him. Lu Bingbing had brought a group of people to capture him, so he had bought a super sleeping gas grenade from Star Technology. The sleeping gas grenade only cost 200 hedonist points. Boom! A loud explosion sounded in the hallway leading to the inner room. Qin Feng had thrown the super grenade out. The sound of the explosion was enormous, and the commotion was astonishing. The passageway was blasted beyond recognition. Bricks and tiles were scattered, and dust filled the air. It was a scene of ruins. The noisy hall suddenly quietened down, and the Holy Gate's disciples were dumbfounded. The power of this super hand grenade was 2 times stronger than the ordinary hand grenade in the Science and Technology Hall. Xiao, what are you doing? Lei Wanzhong was so angry that he jumped up. He glared at Qin Feng ferociously, as if he wanted to tear Qin Feng into pieces. Qin Feng smiled as if nothing had happened and said, "Master Lei, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to satisfy everyone's curiosity and demonstrate the power of the super grenade." Lei Wanzhong was so angry that he glared at him. "Show off your power by throwing it out the door. Why did you blow up my Science and Technology Museum?" Of course, Qin Feng purposely threw the super hand grenade into the hallway. Right now, he had a mission to build a Science and Technology City, so he had to first destroy the Science and Technology Museum in Fire Beacon City. Blame me for not thinking too much. I saw that there was no one there, so I threw it over, Qin Feng said indifferently. Lei Wanzhong and the people from the Science and Technology Hall were so angry that they surrounded Qin Feng. It seemed like they were ready to attack. However, the Holy Gate's disciples fought to get to Qin Feng's side. Elder Fong from Xingshan even grabbed 2 people from the Science and Technology Hall and threw them behind him. Young hero Qiao, your super hand grenade is indeed powerful. If I remember correctly, you said you wanted to sell it to me? And it's cheaper than the ordinary hand grenades in the Science and Technology Hall? Fang Yen smiled with wrinkles all over his face. Qin Feng said, "That's right, Elder Fong. That's what I said just now. How about this? I'll give you 50 super hand grenades, and we'll sell them at the price you just bid for the hand grenade in the Science and Technology Hall." Qin Feng had already calculated that 50 super hand grenades were only 15,000 hedonist points. However, Fang Yen had taken out 12,500 high-grade spirit stones and 3 blazing fire crystals. As for the other martial skills and cultivation methods, Qin Feng didn't care about them at all. The crowd suddenly fell silent for a few seconds, and then the hall exploded with noise. "Fuck? Young hero Qiao, are you joking with me?" Fang Yen suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. Young hero Qiao is too generous. Also, where did he get those super hand grenades? He has 50 of them? Young hero Qiao, I'm willing to pay 15,000 high-grade spirit stones. You can ask for anything else. I'll satisfy you as long as it's within my means. I only hope that you can sell those 50 super hand grenades to me. Feng Exen, a disciple from the northern faction, shouted. Fang Yan's face instantly turned cold. He even unsheathed the sword at his waist. Feng Exen, what do you mean by this? Are you looking for trouble? Feng Exen threw caution to the wind when faced with 50 super hand grenades. He signaled his companions behind him with his eyes, and the 5 of them immediately surrounded Fang Yen. Elder Fang Yen, the highest bidder gets the item in this auction. We're not targeting you. I hope you can understand, Feng Exen said. Understand my ass. Today I'll say this. If anyone tries to compete with me, they'll be going against me. Don't blame the sword in my hand for being blind. Xing Shan and the people from the northern faction were about to fight. Many of them even retreated to make way for the fight. However, they heard Qin Feng's voice. Everyone, don't be anxious. I promised Elder Fang Yen those 50 super hand grenades. The rest of you should stop fighting. Hearing Qin Feng's words, Feng Xian and the others shook their heads and sighed. Qin Feng continued, however, I have more than 50 super hand grenades with me. I still have other technological products. After I'm done with Elder Fang Yen, we'll slowly auction them off. Qin Feng's words instantly caused a wave of cheers and screams. Everyone was looking forward to his other products. Moreover, Qin Feng's trustworthiness won everyone's praise. They started to believe in Qin Feng. The transaction with Fang Yen was quickly completed. Qin Feng gave him 50 super hand grenades and 12,500 high-grade spirit stones and 3 blazing fire crystals. Qin Feng stored all these items into the Emerald Spiritual Ring. In China, this kind of spatial ring was not rare. Elder Fang Yen was wearing one. Young hero Qiao, hurry up and take out your other technological products. The Sacred Gate's disciples couldn't wait any longer after the transaction was completed. After Qin Feng obtained the blazing fire crystals, he only lacked one material, the golden qi. As long as he could get his hands on the golden qi, he could forge the golden rock celestial armor. Qiao, the Science and Technology Museum doesn't welcome you. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Lei Wanzhong roared in anger before Qin Feng could take out any more technological products. He had put in a lot of effort to organize this science and technology exhibition to obtain more cultivation resources. In the end, when the exhibition was at its most important stage, Qin Feng came out and snatched everything. Seeing that Lei Wanzhong was really angry, Qin Feng didn't want to clash with him. After all, this was Lei Wanzhong's territory. Even if he didn't look like he had cultivated, who knew how many experts were hidden in this science and technology museum? Moreover, there was a system owner nearby. Qin Feng wouldn't act recklessly. As everyone can see, Dojo Master Lei is chasing me out. I can't continue to display the products I brought. I think we'll call it a day, Qin Feng said helplessly. Everyone was instantly unhappy. They realized that Qin Feng's technological products were of a higher grade. Moreover, they were cheaper than the Science and Technology Museum. Who would be willing to buy from the Science and Technology Museum? Young hero Qiao, don't go. Why are you afraid of that old man? If he really dares to chase you out, I'll help you deal with him. Feng Xian from the northern faction jumped out. Lei Wanzhong was so angry that he blew his beard and glared at Feng Xian. Before he could chase Feng Xian and the others away, a large group of Sacred Gate's disciples stood out. Young hero Qiao, you just have to display your products. Let's see who dares to touch you today. Soul Blade's disciples were aggressive. Dojo Master Lei, aren't you being too overbearing? Are you purposely chasing young hero Qiao away because the products he brought are better than your Science and Technology Museum? Someone from the Poison Sect spoke up for Qin Feng. Since Dojo Master Lei wants to chase young hero Qiao away, we can just follow him. Let's just auction them at the entrance of the Science and Technology Museum. The disciple from the Southern Sky Flying Fist suggested. Everyone immediately agreed. A group of people followed Qin Feng out of the Science and Technology Museum. In less than half a minute, the originally crowded Science and Technology Museum was left with only Lei Wanzhong and a few staff members. They were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. Young hero Qiao, you can display your products boldly without worry now. The crowd surrounded the entrance of the Science and Technology Museum. It was a terrifying scene. Many passers-by hid far away. Hua Xiaozhen was surrounded in the middle of the crowd. She grabbed the corner of Qin Feng's shirt tightly. She was afraid that she would be separated from young hero Qiao. All right, thank you for your support. I'll take out all the technological products I brought as a way to repay everyone's support. Qin Feng waved his hand and took out a sleeping gas grenade as if he was performing a magic trick. This thing looked similar to a super hand grenade, but the color was different. Young hero Qiao, you still have a super hand grenade? Fang Yan exclaimed. Qin Feng smiled and said, this isn't a super hand grenade. This is a super sleeping gas grenade. It can create thick smoke. It's an essential equipment for escaping. Qin Feng gave a simple explanation and threw the sleeping gas grenade. Instantly, the Science and Technology Museum was filled with thick smoke. It was very choking and stinging to the eyes. Many Sacred Gate disciples had no choice but to close their eyes and hold their breath. When the smoke dissipated, the crowd was in an uproar again. This fellow is amazing. Just like what young hero Qiao said, it's a godly equipment for escaping. Young hero Qiao, how many of these things do you have? I want them all. Zhang Ji, what are you trying to do? This is an auction. You want them just because you say so? The crowd almost started fighting again because of the super sleeping gas grenade. Qin Feng quickly said, everyone, stop arguing. I also have 50 of these super sleeping gas grenades. The bidding price is the same as the super hand grenade. However, I still need some gold. If anyone has it, I can exchange it with him. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.